When it was December 12th, the 22nd year of Water Blue Star, and Soyu was struggling. He had just drowned, dragged into a raging river by a massive fish while out fishing. Now he was waking up reincarnated in a bizarre parallel world, still just 23 years old. Right then he found himself staring up at a sky, stained a deep, ominous crimson red. It looked like a total apocalypse as a cold, emotionless voice rolled down from nowhere. A mysterious voice commanded the entire world to fade into silence and return to nothingness. Then congratulated whoever was listening on embarking on a completely new life. The moment those words finished, the water blue star he had called home simply vanished. It disappeared from the cosmos as if it had never existed when his consciousness returned. Total haze, his head was spinning as he cursed under his breath. He wondered where exactly he had transmigrated this time, struggling to sit up. Everything was wrong. A quick glance confirmed he was truly done for. Imagine waking up stranded right in the middle of a massive, empty ocean. His island was barely 100 square meters of dirt, surrounded by endless sea. Despair, complete despair. Then a strange voice rang in his ear. It welcomed him to the endless void sea, declaring this tiny patch of land his. The system then listed a set of critical rules he had to review immediately. First, every newcomer could claim a basic survival treasure chest with randomized contents. They were also gifted a basic fishing rod, along with 10 portions of bait. The rod was used to fish various survival items directly out of the ocean. Each starter island had a strict 7-day protection period to help newcomers survive. He was urged to raise his island prosperity value to unlock better privileges. On top of that, every person would awaken a unique talent based on pure luck. These talents ranged from the legendary triple S rank down to the lowly F rank. It was up to each individual to discover their talents' unique abilities. Once protection ended, the voice warned, all kinds of dangerous threats would arrive. No time to waste, he had to build up his island quickly. A new translucent status panel immediately flickered into view right before his eyes. He was a level 1 island lord named Soyu, 23 years old, with baseline stats. Those base stats included temporary island bonuses that would vanish if he left. Prosperity value at 0, but the talent section made him freeze. He had a triple S-Rank Insight Talent, alongside an unknown, upgradable talent. That second talent was called Double Happiness. Below that, chat channels appeared. There was a regional chat and a trading hub, staring at his talents. So he wondered if double transmigration was the reason he ended up with 2 abilities. Both were top tier, and one was at a completely mysterious, unknown grade. An absolute cheat code. Right then, his talent details appeared. The Insight Talent allowed him to perceive hidden information ordinary people missed. Its effectiveness scaled with his strength. There was also a stealth feature. If it detected something too powerful to analyze, it would automatically conceal itself. Meanwhile, the Double Happiness Talent doubled all resources retrieved from chest rewards. The upgrade requirements for this broken skill were still listed as unknown. For special chests, he would have to complete trials to get double rewards. Pure gold, with this combo, he had hit the ultimate jackpot. Rather than rushing to check the chat channels, he decided to look around. He spots a golden novice survival chest on the screen. There is a shadowy fishing rod next to it. Will he claim it? He confirms, the chest opens. His double happiness skill instantly triggers. His rewards double instantly, giving him a total of 2 1.5-liter mineral waters and 2 5-pack of Kang Shuifu instant noodles. Talk about a shock. The chest looked so incredibly shiny and golden, but all he got was counterfeit noodles. Still, the starter gear materializes right before his eyes on the ground. He gets the starter rod, 10 portions of bait, 2 large waters, and 10 noodle packs. He checks their stats as they float. The mineral water is just basic drinking water, meant to keep him from dying of thirst early on. The description on the cheap noodles even warns him not to eat them dry. Hot water is highly recommended, so dry chewing is out. Next is the novice fishing rod. It has 100 out of 100 durability, losing 1 point with each catch. Upgrades are possible later if he can secure a proper blueprint. The bait hooks low-level wooden chests from the sea. A quick footnote explains exactly how the star rating system on these chests actually works. Half-circle icons mean half a star, while a full circle means a whole star. He tests the weight of the rod in his hand, but decides against casting it just yet. Instead, he opens up the chat channels to check on everyone else. The regional chat groups 5,000 players together, giving them 10 free messages every single day. Top-ranked islands get 5 bonus messages, which is a massive communication advantage. The regional trading channel operates with those same bonus slots and a 10-trade daily limit. The top rank also gets those same 5 extra trading slots every day. He clicks into the regional chat first, immediately greeted by a massive wall of scrolling text. Scrolling text reveals that almost everyone is complaining about their starter. Chests, one guy is absolutely furious because he received plates and bowls instead of food. Another player is shocked. He received 3 kilograms of rice but 0 fresh water. Someone else is literally asking the entire channel what they should do with a doll. Seeing this, he realizes his water and noodles were actually a huge win. The chat is still relatively slow since most of the survivors are still completely adjusting. So after a quick look, he closes the window and walks to the shore. Standing at the edge of his island, rod ready, he decides to play it smart. He activates his unique insight talent, focusing directly on the dark waves ahead of him. A warning pops up: resources here are scarce, better find another spot. He quickly moves over to a completely different edge of his island, hoping for better. The second scan shows average resources, still not good enough. He shifts again. On his third try, the system notification finally changes to show a much better rating. The water is loaded with abundant chests. This is the perfect fishing spot. Grinning at his luck, he gently casts his line. The bobber splashes down and he waits. Sitting cross-legged, he holds the rod tight. Survival requires absolute patience. He waits in absolute silence as time ticks by. Suddenly, the bobber sinks deep. He pulls back hard and a small, soggy wooden chest slowly breaks through the ocean surface. It is a basic 1-star wooden chest containing 10 pieces of ordinary wood. Thanks to his unique talent, he knows exactly what is inside before even touching it. He easily drags it onto the sand and taps to open his loot. The system asks if he wants to open it. He confirms, triggering his double happiness talent. Double reward, he gets 20 pieces of wood and the chest dissolves. The wood materializes. The item description says it is perfect for building shelter. He can make houses, furniture, or use it as fuel. Blueprints can be fished up too. With that, building a shelter becomes possible, but it takes 100 pieces of wood. A 15-meter shelter requires a lot more resources, so he keeps casting his line. He falls back into the tedious rhythm of casting his rod, checking the chat to stay sane. By now, the chat is alive. One survivor complains loudly about his loot. One poor guy fished up a broken chest, only to find stinking wet socks. Another player tries to console him, saying his own first chest only had some stale bread. A third person snaps. He tells them both to shut up and get lost. Then someone tries trading sketchy stocking photos for a single bottle of clean drinking water. The next message immediately fires back, calling the seller a delusional, desperate loser. Honestly, this global chat is mostly just a chaotic place for stressed people to vent. Dying once before transmigrating made him tough enough to ignore the chatter. No distractions. He simply keeps one watchful eye on his fishing float. Suddenly, the indicator plunges deep. Yanking the fishing rod, he immediately feels a massive resistance from deep below. This feels totally different. Luckily, his island bonus has doubled his physical strength. Having double his original strength is great, but he cannot risk snapping the rod. Instead of using raw power, he applies basic angling techniques to work the line. Slowly, he coaxes the heavy chest up. His insight skill identifies it as a rare find. Inside is a 1-star wooden chest holding a Type 59 pistol and 8 rounds. Note advises pulsing, steady pulls instead of raw brute force. Otherwise, the chest will unhook. His spirits rise, though he has no immediate use for weapons. And honestly, who would complain about having a weapon in a crazy survival situation like this? Guided by his trusty insight skill, he paces back and forth along the sandy shoreline. He slowly coaxes the chest closer. Then, with one final, deliberate pull, he drags it up. Dragging it onto the beach, he pops it open, revealing a Type 59 pistol. It comes with an 8-round magazine and is lethal up to 50 meters. The system recommends firing at close range for maximum lethality. Thanks to his double happiness talent, he actually receives 2 pistols and 16 bullets. Pure excitement rushes through his veins. Back in his old, peaceful world, guns were forbidden. Normal citizens never got to hold real firearms. He clumsily loads the fresh magazine. Fumbling slightly, he raises the pistol and aims directly at a stack of wood nearby. A loud bang, he stops there, knowing empty guns are just scrap metal. He must conserve his ammunition. He sets the weapon down and immediately returns to his fishing. Island survival is incredibly monotonous, but he holds a cheat-level advantage with his insight talent. Plus, his double happiness ability is completely broken. Meanwhile, other players are struggling hard. Everyone else is pulling up useless junk, without his skill guiding him to rich fishing spots. Without it, he would be in the same miserable boat. Suddenly, his float dips. Here we go, another surge of excitement hits, but as he pulls, he is suddenly dragged off balance. Seriously, if he was just a meter closer to the edge, he would be fish food by now. Gripping the fishing rod with both hands, he pulls back as a fierce struggle begins. Every step backward he takes is instantly countered by a powerful, violent tug forward. Yet he is not scared at all. In fact, he is absolutely thrilled. The higher the chest star rating, the tougher the struggle, and this rod. It is pulling way harder than that first 1-star chest. His guess is right. A 2-star ordinary monster chest. Inside is a low-level goblin. With a system warning, opening it releases the beast, and he has to kill it for the prize. The system displays its stats next. Its strength is 1.5. Constitution is 2, spirit is 1.5, and its weapon is a broadsword. The description calls it garbage with basic building abilities. His insight skill suggests a strategy, telling him that using firearms is best. This information is way more detailed than what the wooden chests offered. Proving this is a special chest, and you can bet he is hooked. If he had fished this up before getting guns, he might have hesitated. Since the goblin is armed, but with 2 pistols he is set. His insight has already handed him the perfect game plan. The struggle lasts. He pulls hard, the chest rises. Setting the rod aside, he grabs both Type 59 pistols and opens it. He steps back and watches the spot. A bright white light flashes, and a hunched creature under 1.5 meters tall appears in front of him. He fires before the goblin can even register its surroundings. The first volley rips across its body, its vision drops out and it collapses. Just to be safe, he pumps 5 more rounds into the corpse. The system pings. He has successfully killed the goblin inside the 2-star monster chest. He can select one of 2 rewards, a low-level goblin slave, or it's building knowledge. He chooses the slave right away. Double happiness triggers, and get this, the system hands him 2 slaves. 2 identical goblins materialize, while the old corpse turns to dust. The corpse dissolves into thin air, their slave panels pop up. Low-level goblin identity, slave status, with loyalty at 100, strength is 1.5, constitution is 2, and skill is basic construction. Armed with greatswords, this cheap labor survives on very little food. And they already have the common language fully implanted in their minds. The 2 goblins look up at him with absolute fanaticism. Kneeling to kiss his boots, he pulls his foot back in disgust, commanding them to use the logs to build him a wooden bed, a table, and some stools. They reply instantly, nodding their heads rapidly to show they understand. With loyalty locked at 100, they would walk into the sea on his word. So this woodwork order is nothing. They grab their greatswords and rush straight for the timber pile. A moment later, the system pings. His island's prosperity score jumps, ranking him first in the region. He gets to keep this top spot if he holds it for 6 hours. Hearing this, he lets out a quiet gasp of surprise. Since he is the first to break 0 prosperity, everyone is talking. The regional ranking panel appears, placing him first with 10 prosperity points. Second and third place are totally empty as the timer counts down. He checks his own attribute screen, finding a new slave section listing. His 2 low-level goblins who brought those 10 points, he is currently first. The total number of living beings on his island ties directly to its prosperity value, which makes perfect sense. He sinks his thoughts into the communication channel to see how the rest of the world is taking this massive news. The wall is completely full of people praising the newly crowned top-ranked powerhouse and begging this big shot to speak. Many are asking how to raise prosperity, and he feels completely blank about the empty praise, but for the sake of future trade, he doesn't pretend to be aloof, especially since his own development speed is fast enough that nobody in his area will ever catch up. He types out a long message explaining that island prosperity is closely tied to the number of living beings on the island, and to various island buildings, and that anyone who uses materials to build a simple thatch shelter will see for themselves. Once his message goes up, a chorus of Thanks fills the channel, but underneath that gratitude it's the same old chaos. 1. Player thanks him for the valuable information while offering some black stockings. Another begs him for water while others wail about being broken on day 1. He ignores them. He cannot give his own rations to others. Anyone else who wants to can go ahead. He taps into the trading channel, where quite a few listings have already appeared. Someone named Wang is offering 5 porcelain bowls for 2 bottles of water or 2 packs of noodles. A user named Ju offers 5 portions of wood for 1 bottle of water or 1 piece of bread. Another named Lei offers 10 portions of wood for cold medicine and 1 bottle of water or bread. Most listings are people trying to get water and food, and the most traded item is wood. After organizing his own pack, he realizes he is actually pretty poor in tradable goods. Let's hope he can fish up something actually useful soon, so he quickly exits the channel to go straight back to fishing. After he leaves the channel, someone else starts frantically buying up everything that is being traded for water. On his island, Wang Yung feels God has been very kind to him, having just fished up a large red plastic barrel right as the sky suddenly opens into a downpour. With no shelter, he hugs the barrel tightly to keep the wind from carrying his prize away, and by the time the storm passes, he has half a barrel of water. That half barrel is enough to make him a tycoon at this stage, especially since seawater is undrinkable and fresh water is the ultimate resource of the day. With only 10 trades a day, though, even Wang Yung has to be selective. Meanwhile, back on his own waters, the hook drops, the float dips, and he forcefully yanks the rod with disappointment on his face. There is no resistance. Another 1-star chest dragged in without a single fight. He opens it without checking the description first, and the system pings. He has successfully opened a half-star ordinary wooden chest. Double happiness triggers, and he happily receives 2 boxes of 50 windproof lighters. His grin spreads. He has something valuable to trade now, and anyone without way to start a fire will absolutely need one, since not everyone can rub sticks together. He sets the 2 boxes of lighters aside and turns to his 2 goblins who are working hard but using their large knives to trim wood, which is genuinely awkward for making tables and stools. He lists a few lighters on the trading channel. His listing offers 5 windproof lighters, and he asks for each lighter to be traded for 1 of a handsaw, chisel, axe, plane, or hammer. After listing, he doesn't stare at the channel. He just picks the rod back up and keeps fishing. He still has 6 portions of ordinary bait, enough for 6 more chests, the thing he wants most. He desperately needs crystals, ordinary energy crystals for bait. It is the most vital early item. He already knows the recipe. The Insight Talent showed him the exact recipe, yet catching one is pure luck. Someone else might have easily hooked one without listing it for sale. An average person would not just dump this crystal on the public trade channel, but he strongly believes obtaining one should not be too difficult. Otherwise, those 10 starter bait pieces are going to be completely useless. Most players would never survive the beginner phase. Time slowly slips by as he continues casting. Down to his final 2 baits, his 4 earlier attempts have produced a basic half-star wooden house blueprint. It builds a 15 square meter wooden cabin using 100 timber logs. He also pulled a fresh apple, over 95% ripe, highly recommended for cool storage. Then a 2-star ordinary energy crystal that yields 30 bait portions. And finally, a simple half-star bamboo mat for basic sleeping comfort. His heart relaxes. Finally, he actually pulled the crystal. Flour is easy to find, but catching this crystal was the real vital hurdle. He takes the last 2 casts in a relaxed state when suddenly the system pings. All his windproof lighters have successfully sold. The system asks to claim the rewards. He leaves them in the inbox for now since no chests have bitten yet. Suddenly, the heavy rod sinks deep in his hand. 8 prior attempts have already taught him the distinct feel of different star ratings. He knows exactly what this is before pulling a 1-star chest. He drags it up, and it is exactly as expected, a common wooden chest containing a basic set of pots and bowls. At least he will have a proper bowl for his noodles tonight. He casts the very last line. The bait barely lands before the float dips. He yanks. The force feels like a 2-star chest, a perfect catch. This feeling is absolutely exhilarating. He pulls hard, and his Insight Talent reveals a 2-star ordinary wooden chest containing a small car. It has a full fuel tank, but the note warns him not to drive here. He is completely speechless. He knew chests held crazy things, but this is Unbelievable, on a 10-meter wide island, one wrong step in any direction sends you straight into the sea to feed the chests. Still, the car is not entirely useless. Until his wooden house is built, he can sleep inside rather than on the ground. Plus, the fuel can be drained for other uses. With a final pull, he lands. The 2-star chest, he carries it and the rod over to the goblins. They freeze, instantly drop to their knees, and salute him as master. Looking at the half-built bed and table, their pace is excellent. With a single thought, he triggers his doubling talent. Now, 2 Toyota cars appear instead of just one. This absolute miracle sends the terrified goblins right back to their knees. He commands them to get back to work, then climbs inside one of the Toyotas. He adjusts the seat back, letting himself sink in. 10 casts in a row are exhausting. His body and mind are completely spent. Most other survivors have a lighter load. They lack his truly insane luck, never pulling up 2-star chests in 10 brief attempts. The average survivor mostly pulls up damaged wooden chests. 1-star chests are rare, and 2-star chests are practically a myth. Without his special insight to locate rich fishing zones, catching anything is pure luck and even. When one actually bites, pulling it in is a whole different battle. He only managed because his insight skill basically came with a built-in treasure chest guide. It is complete cheating, honestly. He kicks back, apple in hand, and sends his awareness back into the global chat channel to see if anyone has uncovered anything useful. The feed is pretty quiet now. There is no more constant, crazy scrolling. Suddenly, a system alert pings. His region's prosperity score has met the leaderboard. Requirements crowning him with the perks of being number 1. He gets 5 extra. Daily trades and pinning rights on the trade channel, plus 5 extra. Pinning enabled messages on the chat channel. He also gets exclusive leaderboard. Chest rewards that stack up as he holds the top spot for 1 day, 3 days, 5 days, 7 days, and so on, but his face falls as he scrolls. Because the chat is a total mess, and honestly, these messages are pretty tough to read. People are begging the system to send them home, crying that their babies are only a year old. Others grieve, wondering if children and the elderly were also dragged into this brutal world. The system answers everyone with a single notification, telling the survivors that kids under 14 and seniors over 60 have other arrangements. The only way to see their loved ones again is to survive. That single line ignites hope. He was always a solitary type, completely alone before this transmigration end. Still alone now with nobody waiting for him. The grim news hits him a bit lighter than the others. Suddenly, the channel explodes back to life as people vow to stay alive. One guy begs for useful tips, complaining that he has fished up nothing but trash all day. Another replies that fishing is pure luck with 0 decent catches. A third moans that his gaming luck was always completely terrible. Fourth asks a nearby player to leave behind some supplies before dying. The neighbor tells him to drop dead first. He stops wasting time on chat and taps into the trade channel, running a quick keyword search for flour. A dozen listings pop up. One seller offers 1 kilogram of flour for 9/10 of a kilo of bread or noodles. Another offers 2 kilograms of flour for 1.8 kilograms of instant food. That requires 0 cooking. It seems most flour listings want ready-to-eat meals. In exchange, looking at his tiny 100-gram packet of instant noodles, he abandons the flour idea entirely. Instead, he decides to list a windproof lighter. Instead, he puts up 1 lighter, asking for 300 grams of flour, with 2 trades. Active, he decides to grab a bite first and watch the chaos unfold. He leaves the trade screen, pushes the car door open, and steps outside. He orders his 2 goblin slaves to start a fire with the lighter and heat up a pot of water. He demonstrates how to click the windproof lighter in his hand, then tosses it to them. The 2 loyal slaves immediately scurry off to build the fire. With the wood scraps left over from building his bed and stool, the fire catches quickly. He pours fresh mineral water into the pot, sets it over the flames, and after 2 or 3 minutes, right when the water is about to boil, he rips open his instant noodles and drops them in. Soon, a rich, savory aroma starts drifting through the air. The 2 goblins hover nearby, staring hungrily and constantly swallowing saliva, but they would never dare touch a single bite without his permission. He stirs the water with chopsticks. 3 minutes later, a hot, steaming pot of noodles is fully cooked. He pours everything into. He looks at his bowl while the 2 goblins stare at him. After a quick thought, Soyu tells them to go ahead and cook, reminding them to wash the dishes afterward. He is not stingy enough to refuse his labor a simple meal, especially since these two are incredibly useful for taking all the dirty, exhausting chores off his hands. He tosses 2 packets of noodles their way. Any other survivor would definitely hesitate to feed slaves when nobody can guarantee a steady food supply. But Soyu is not worried. He already has the energy crystals needed to craft ordinary bait, leaving him short only on flour, with just 2 energy crystals. He can craft 60 servings of bait. With his insight talent, he will not waste. Casts on complete garbage, locking in his food supply for the long run. Suddenly, the system pings. Both windproof lighters he uploaded have been traded successfully, and the system asks for a container to receive the items. Soyu nearly chokes on his noodles. He curses the system for not waiting until he finishes, then chooses to extract them into the plate on the ground. 600 grams of pure white flour appears on the plate, while at the same time, a windproof lighter materializes in front of both of his trading partners. He quickly finishes his noodles, takes a satisfying sip of soup, and sets the bowl aside for the goblins to clean. He drops 2 ordinary energy crystals onto the plate and grabs a hammer. He crushes the crystals with a hammer until they turn to fine powder, then begins kneading the dough by hand. By the time he finishes, 60 portions of fresh ordinary bait sit in the plate. Soyu lets out a small sigh of relief, but then he pauses. The only reason he could craft this bait is his unique insight talent. How are other ordinary survivors supposed to survive when their own bait runs dry? He does not want everyone in this region dying off and leaving him completely isolated. After all, trading channels only work when there is a thriving population to trade with. He needs other players to keep supplies circulating, so he checks the chat. Sure enough, people are talking, but absolutely no one has cracked the solution. After a moment of thought, Soyu composes a message of his own to post. He announces he is buying ordinary energy crystals, inviting sellers to message him. He asks them to include a picture, then he pins the message right away. It is his special privilege as the top-ranked player, and he intends to use it. His pinned post instantly draws massive attention. Honestly, the chat wall goes completely wild. Someone marvels that the top-ranked boss pinned a message. Another asks what an energy crystal actually does, hoping someone knowledgeable can explain it. A third player laughs that the item must be incredibly rare, wishing he had one to extort a high price from Soyu, though he openly admits he has no clue what it does. Speculation runs wild because Soyu has held the #1 spot since day 1, meaning his base construction is easily the best around. The system pings. It updates the regional rankings. First place remains unchanged, but the rest of the top 100 is filling up. He is first with 20 prosperity points. Jo-il holds second place at 10 points. Wang Gok ranks third at 9. Jae Chong-yu is fourth with 8, while Wang Du barely makes 100th place with just 1. The system then delivers the daily prosperity rewards, keeping things basic except for the special chests reserved for the top 10. First place receives 20 portions of ordinary bait daily. Second gets 15, third gets 10, and 4th through 10th get 8. Rank 21st to 50th gets 4, 51st to 103rd gets 3, and the rest get 1. As a minimum, the global chat absolutely explodes the moment these rank rewards are officially posted. People wail over receiving 1 measly daily portion. How are they supposed to survive? Others are completely blown away, marveling that first place gets 20 times their tiny reward. But some try to calm the chat down, insisting there must be other ways to gather bait. Desperate players beg the top 10 to reveal how their prosperity points shot up so fast. Soyu lets out a startled hum. High ranks grant passive bait. The system is basically running a brutal goo-raising game, with all of them trapped in a jar together. Talk about high stakes. The higher they rank, the more precious resources flow in. Rank 100 and below must climb on pure skill, or get incredibly lucky. Just then, the system pings him with a private chat request from someone named Wang Dong. Soyu had preset a strict filter on his inbox. Only those possessing an ordinary energy crystal could initiate a message, with system-verified ownership acting as the lock. It works like trade labels. Otherwise, spam would absolutely destroy his inbox. Soyu approves the request, and a polite message from Wang Dong immediately pops up in front of him. He calls Soyu boss, claiming he has the exact energy crystal Soyu is hunting for. Wang Dong is ready to trade, but asks what the mysterious crystal is actually used for. Over on his lonely island, Wang Dong stares nervously at his glowing system interface. He lacks Soyu's overpowered cheat talent, leaving him blind to everything except raw item names. Yet through grueling trial and error, he figured out which high-tier chests yield the best loot. That is precisely why he kept these crystals off the public market. He simply did not know their actual value. Soyu ponders for a beat, typing a firm, direct counteroffer. One ordinary crystal for the detailed usage of the item alone, no physical goods included. With a strict daily limit on trades, Soyu needs to milk this crucial info advantage now. Before it leaks out, down on his island, Wang Dong hesitates over the message. Those crystals are clearly rarer than daily necessities. But rarity without a clear purpose is just scrap. After a moment, he decides to spend one to learn the secret, addressing Soyu respectfully as senior. He agrees to the deal, asking Soyu to list any random item on the market. Soyu respects the quick decisiveness. He immediately lists a cheap, windproof lighter on the market. Demanding one ordinary crystal in return, Soyu has a massive stockpile of lighters anyway, and couldn't be bothered to look for anything more valuable. Meanwhile, Wang Dong is frantically refreshing the trade page, spots the listing, and instantly hits accept. The system pings with a successful transaction alert. Quickly, our main character retrieves his new crystal, smiles, and types out the hidden formula for Wang Dong. Crush the crystal and knead it into 300 grams of ordinary flour for 30 bait servings. Soyu hands over the genuine recipe without any tricks. After all, regional progress only happens if everyone manages to produce their own high-quality bait. He honestly doesn't care about hoarding a basic recipe. This low-grade bait can only hook up to 2-star chests at best. Back on his island, Wang Dong's. And honestly, this is a massive win for him. This formula is pure gold. Without the formula, his raw crystal was literally just a useless paperweight. He thanks Soyu profusely, but Soyu calls it a fair trade, advising him to reach out with future finds. Closing the chat, he grabs his trusty fishing rod. Now fully fed and rested, he has 60 freshly prepared portions of ordinary bait sitting ready, plus 1 extra crystal. Still uncrafted, if he doesn't start fishing hard, his bait pile will just keep growing. He looks up at the sky, still daylight. He walks to his old spot. But his insight warns him, resources here are just average now. The chest locations under the sea aren't fixed, they shift constantly. The next spot is totally barren, talk about frustrating, so he moves again. 9 relocations later, he finally finds an abundant spot, absolute lifesaver. Without his insight, this would be deadly. He casts his line. Call it pure luck, but over the next hour and a half, he pulls up 10 chests in a row. That is 4 1-star chests, 3 1.5-star chests, and 3 2-star chests. The 1-star chests give him 40 pieces of ordinary wood, 2 cartons of cigarettes, 2 5-kilogram bags of rice, and 4 500-gram bags of salt. The tier up gives 2 20-liter cans of diesel, 2 luxury massage chairs, and 2 25-kilogram bags of cement. The 2-star chests yield 2 ordinary fishing rod blueprints and 2 ordinary bungalow construction blueprints, along with 4 enhanced baits. His eyes settle on the 2-star drops since the other items are familiar enough that he doesn't need his insight to read them. The ordinary fishing rod blueprint upgrades the novice rod, requiring 1 fiberglass, 1 PE braided line, and 1 carbon cloth. The ordinary bungalow construction blueprint builds a 30-square-meter cottage, requiring 25 cement, 200 red bricks, and 100 sand. The enhanced bait targets 2.5 to 5-star chests, with a note warning that the novice rod might snap under the stress of enhanced bait. Honestly, he hasn't laid eyes on any of those upgrade materials yet, and the bungalow's material list makes his head spin. Nope, he will live in the car for now and slowly gather resources. But looking at the pile, he realizes he needs to upgrade his island level soon, or there'll be no space left to put anything. Counting up his 7 remaining daily trades, he lists some immediately. He offers 3 bags of edible salt, wanting fiberglass, PE braided line, or carbon cloth in return for each. He searched the market earlier but found nothing listed, so he pins the trade. And of course, the regional chat goes wild the second he pins that offer. Everyone starts speculating on what he is collecting. Someone asks the channel if anyone knows why the top-ranked big shot needs these items. Another guesses, judging by the components, that they must be for a new fishing rod. A third asks why he needs a rod when everyone already has one. Someone snaps back that the guy is dense. The top rank gets 20 daily baits, So one rod is not enough. Someone else sighs that they are drowning in floods. He is not surprised someone guessed it, honestly, with this many survivors, deduction is bound to happen. Why even try to hide it? Anyway, since anyone who gets the blueprint will see the exact same materials. After safely storing his massive haul, he casts his line once more. Meanwhile, Wang Duong has mixed his crystal with flour to make 30 baits. Excitedly fishing on his island, he saw the pin trade and is curious. How to make the rod, he refuses to believe it can be assembled. Like any ordinary item, this special rod is for hunting treasure chests. He thinks it might be a trick, so he decides not to send a direct message just yet. Instead, he wants to fish more first, see if he can pull anything good to trade for. Information, meanwhile, on the regional prosperity rankings, the top contenders are. Nursing mixed feelings, Zhou Yil, currently in second place, stares at the top spot with an inexplicable look in his eyes. His status panel shows he is a level 1 island. Lord, 24 years old, with 9 points of strength, 8 constitution, and 1.3 spirit. Plus an island prosperity of 10 points. His talent is divination, which is upgradable to SSS-Rank deduction. This divination talent lets him check his own luck 5 times every day by using it before casting his line. He timed his attempts perfectly to secure second place, if not for the current number 1. That top spot would easily be his. Now he checks his final divination of the day and triggers it. The reading shows a great benefit, so he casts his line. Meanwhile, the top ranker everyone keeps talking about is lounging in a fished-up massage chair, living like he is on vacation. His insight talent reveals his next catch is a 2-star common wooden chest containing a 20 milliliter tube of strength attribute potion. The note says drinking 20 milliliters boosts strength by 0.2, completely free of side effects, though it does not work if base strength exceeds 5. Hearing this, his spirits soar. Losing this catch would have broken his heart. After a tough struggle, he pulls it ashore. His double reward talent yields 2 tubes. From a single outcome like this, the insane power of his talent is obvious, and it still has room to grow. If he were only catching trash, a double drop would be useless, but with rare items down the line, a single catch will be worth many times more than what anyone else gets. He pops both stoppers and down they go. The liquid hits his stomach, sending a tingling electric shock through his entire body. He actually knows this feeling well, because as a kid, he touched a live TV cable port and shocked himself, and surprisingly, he found that blast of raw energy completely exhilarating. The sensations last for 20 minutes, then he checks his status. His strength has reached 1.4 plus a bonus, with 2 native workers now bound to him and adding 10 prosperity points. His total score hits 20, keeping him at rank 1. He thinks it would be incredible to hoard more of these potions and starts fantasizing, but right after, his legendary god-tier luck takes a sudden, brutal nosedive. He is left wondering if his fortune completely dried up, yet his insight talent keeps insisting the waters are rich, the catches should not be junk, yet. Over the next half hour, he hauls in 10 more chests, and they are almost entirely garbage. 4 1-star, 3 1.5-star, 2 2-star, and a single half-star chest. This is a massive downgrade from before. That half-star chest only yields 2 5-portion piles of basic wood, along with shampoo and 2 boxes of soy sauce. Meanwhile, the 1-star chests yield 4 5-kilogram fresh watermelons and 2 basic first aid kits alongside 4 apple saplings. The 1.5-star chests give 2 40-portion piles of common wood and 2 portions of fertile soil. Only the 2-star chests actually deliver anything decent. He gets 2 island expansion fragments created when other islands crumble. These are used to expand his current land by a square meter. He activates them, watching his island grow from 100 square meters to 102. Not quite as good as those attribute potions, but he sits back and keeps casting. System pings, awarding Soyu his first-place regional prize of 20 ordinary baits. He is not thrilled. He already has too much of the stuff. He claims the bait and keeps moving, but a sudden notification interrupts him. The system asks if he will accept a private chat from another survivor. Her name is Gay Changyu, and she meets his energy crystal filter requirement. The name rings a bell. She ranks 4th on the regional prosperity board. Soyu accepts. She greets him respectfully, asking to trade other items for his energy crystal. She wants to know its use. Soyu realizes another sharp survivor is catching on. He knows only Wang Dong shared this secret, and since he paid for it, he will keep quiet. He will not run his mouth. Soyu tells her he only needs 3 specific crafting materials. He asks for fiberglass, braided line, and carbon cloth, one of each, to make a deal. If not, then the deal is off. Gay Changyu lets out a sigh of relief. She actually has all 3, even though her gut says these materials are incredibly valuable. She knows she cannot have it both ways. She has to make a choice. Her A-Rank 6 senses enhancement tells her that the energy crystal matters much more. She confirms she has all 3 and offers to buy whatever Soyu puts up. This instantly grabs his attention, and honestly, how did she get so incredibly lucky? He has been fishing for hours and has not seen a single rod upgrade material. He agrees, telling her he will list the trade and then send the crystal's secret. Once she completes the trade, he promises to deliver the crucial information right away. She agrees instantly, the trade goes through, and he sends her the exact same guide. She sends her thanks, but Soyu ignores it to save his limited daily message count. He grabs his new materials and places them next to his novice fishing rod and blueprint. He activates the blueprint, a brilliant white light flashes instantly. The items vanish, and a brand new ordinary fishing rod appears. It is a sleek, pitch-black rod boasting 200 points of durability. Now he can fish for anything from half-star to 5-star ordinary wooden chests. Even better, he can still use novice materials to repair its durability. A footnote reveals that using enhanced bait at 5 meters deep yields great results. He can hook chests up to 5 stars. Soyu is eager to try it out. He still has 4 enhanced baits left, but remembers how tough 2-star chests were. A 5-star chest will be much harder, so he decides to use his ordinary bait first. He wants to farm more attribute potions before taking on the next big challenge. He makes sure to post a brand new trade offer on the active regional chat channel. He offers a carton of premium cigarettes, 5 kilograms of rice, and shampoo. He demands 1 piece each of fiberglass, braided line, and carbon cloth. This offer is mostly bait. If someone bites, great. If not, no big deal. The post shows his demand, which might prompt players to message him privately. He never actually expected Salt to get him those high-tier materials earlier anyway. That flashy trade was just a trick to draw eyeballs to his listings. These new items are basically freebies to him, costing him absolutely nothing. Just like the lighters, these common supplies are piling up in his inventory. Pinning the trade causes the regional chat to immediately explode with activity. One player complains about having 0 rod materials to trade for premium cigarettes. Another tells him to shut up because all this talk is making him crave a smoke. Someone else marvels at the gap between them, asking why he has so many supplies. Another player joins the chorus, complaining that he used all 10 fishing chances and only got 5 damaged chests. Unbelievable, right? But our main character doesn't pay any attention to their gossip. Ignoring the gossip entirely, he picks up the wooden house construction blueprint instead. Walking over to the wood pile, he receives deep bows from the 2 goblins. He simply waves them aside, as the system prompts him to select a spot for his home. After scanning the island, he locks the placement right in the very center. The system confirms his choice and tells him to wait as a phantom structure appears. Wood logs begin stacking themselves together like toy building blocks. Suddenly, a bright white light flashes, revealing a neat, European-style wooden cabin sitting right in front of him. The system chimes to confirm he is now the proud owner of an ordinary wooden house. His prosperity rises to 30, still ranked first. The description shows it is a simple shelter against wind, rain, and storage for goods. He pushes the front door open and steps inside to find a pretty tiny interior. It actually reminds him of the cramped studio apartments he rented before he transmigrated. A quick look and he walks right back out, empty, nothing to see. He orders his 2 goblins to move all their supplies inside and pack them neatly. The creatures eagerly scurry off to obey, ever since their lunch of delicious instant noodles. The 2 slaves have been completely obsessed, their mouths watering even while working on carpentry. They are highly motivated to work as fast as possible, hoping for another hot bowl. Clueless about their dreams, he is already busy with his next task. He is relaxed on his massage chair, tossing out his line, 3 1-star. Chests come up in a row before a 2-star chest finally bites. His insight skill reads it as a 2-star chest containing a special physique potion. It boosts attributes, and thanks to his newly upgraded rod, he can easily pull it in. His brute strength works perfectly fine, allowing him to simply pull it up. 20 milliliters increases constitution by 2/10, with absolutely zero side effects. However, it will not work for anyone with a base constitution higher than 5. Instant hype, dragging the chest in with raw force, he cracks it open. Staring at the 2 tubes of blue liquid, he pops the corks and chugs them. The sensation is completely different from the strength potion, which just gave a tingling feeling. This one delivers ice and fire at the exact same time, sparking a heavy shudder. He lets out a sudden shout, causing the 2 goblins to look over in confusion. They are drawn by their master's commotion as he shudders while the medicine works. Once the effects finally fade, he is completely drenched in sweat. He strips off his jacket, along with his damp shirt, hanging them over the back of the massage chair. He grabs his fresh water bottle and takes a massive, refreshing gulp. If the other struggling survivors saw him drinking like this, they would absolutely lose it. Burping loudly, he sets the bottle down and baits his hook again. He casts his line, but that familiar bad luck starts creeping back in. Pure garbage, his next 10 attempts only pull up basic, everyday junk. He figures the good chests might just be a rare 10% drop rate. If anyone saw his smug face right now, they would probably kick his teeth in. He looks up at the sky and decides to try his enhanced bait next. Since he still has 4 chances left, he eagerly attaches it to his line. He baits the hook, adjusts the float, and casts, then a sudden trade ping. It ruins his focus. His carton of premium cigarettes has officially been traded. He curses quietly, mutters a retrieve command, and ignores the materials on the ground. Suddenly, the float twitches. He holds his breath, focusing entirely on the water. The float plunges, he pulls back hard, and his basic rod bends alarmingly. It looks ready to snap. Veins bulge along his arms as he exerts maximum strength. Planting his feet like iron anchors, he locks onto the heavy underwater pull. He slowly backs away, but every single retreat is met with a sharp counterpull. The line tenses instantly, after 20 exhausting minutes of a brutal tug-of-war. The heavy chest finally surfaces. His SSS Insight scans it immediately. It is a 5-star wooden chest holding 10 ordinary energy crystals. His fishing system advises applying uneven pressure for an hour before dragging it in. He realizes he has already unlocked complete energy crystal freedom in these early stages. With more crystals than he needs, combining just one with flower yields 30 bait. And with double happiness active, this 5-star chest will yield 20 crystals. That adds up to a staggering 600 pieces of high-quality bait. He could fish until his fingers cramped and still have leftovers. He shakes the thought away. Shaking himself out of his daydream, he turns his focus back to the heavy struggle. As dusk falls, he finally hauls the chest onto land, drops his rod, and collapses. Breathing heavily, he realizes this struggle drained him more than all prior chests combined. But this massive haul, boosted by double happiness, secures his future bait for days. He is basically getting filthy rich overnight with this insane, snowballing progress. Just then, a critical system warning pings across the screen for all survivors. It warns them that night is coming and temperatures are about to plummet. Everyone needs to prepare for the freezing cold. He pushes himself off the dirt. During this 7-day newcomer phase, survivors must worry about warmth alongside food and water. A biting wind sweeps across his island, making him shiver as the cold settles in. Wasting no time, he scrambles up, grabs his clothes, and pulls on his heavy jacket. He grabs the massive wooden chest and quickly retreats to the safety of his cabin. Inside, he orders his 2 goblin helpers to light the hearth as darkness closes in. Once indoors, he drops the heavy chest and pops it open with anticipation. Seeing 20 real, physical energy crystals piled up is nothing like seeing a digital balance. It feels like real hard cash, a completely different kind of impact. Curious to see how the others are coping, he opens up the regional global chat. The chat board is completely flooded, with players desperately crying about the freezing cold. One guy complains that there was supposed to be a 7-day newcomer protection period. Someone tells him to shut up and build a fire if he is freezing that badly. Another survivor warns that a violent wind almost blew his newly fished tent away. Desperate requests for warm coats and thick bedding start filling up the trade lists. A smart player chimes in, "Light a fire now, or you won't survive the night." Catching a cold or a high fever out here could easily prove fatal. The clever players are already buying up materials before the market prices skyrocket. He glances at his leftover slots. Listing a few free lighters seems like a nice welfare gift since he has plenty. Besides, after a grueling day of fishing, he he just wants to eat a hot meal and sleep. Otherwise, trades are wasted. Plus, giving free lighters builds a solid reputation. That helps later, the moment the listing goes up, the first survivor to grab one screams in chat that the top boss is handing out free charity gifts. He snagged a windproof lighter. Instantly, jealousy floods the global chat channel. Missed it, everyone complains, asking why nothing was left for them. Some claim they're freezing to death, joking the grabbers have insane hand speed. Insane hand speed, he lists more lighters, then stops watching the useless chat. Nothing useful there anyway. On the regional board, the gap is widening. Survivors look at his massive prosperity number, then at their own, totally speechless. They wonder if they even play the same game. Meanwhile, Wang Dong quietly enters the top 10, his 30 bait portions from his crystal gave him a massive boost, pushing his rank past almost everyone. The 10th place player he displaced is furious. The gap is massive. Top 10 survivors get extra rewards, an extra treasure chest every day. Brutal, the kicked-out player can only scream in rage on his empty island. Meanwhile, our protagonist Pan fries a fresh steak, one of his afternoon catches. The rich meat aroma fills the air. He swallows hard. He has been working since lunch on just one bowl of noodles, medium rare, perfect. He eats happily. His 2 goblin servants do not starve either. He tosses them some cheap instant noodles, sending them into absolute pure ecstasy. 3 steaks and half a watermelon later, he lets out a heavy burp. He orders the goblins to guard the bonfire and watch the sea tonight. They bow, promising to obey. He pulls his car door open and climbs inside. He starts the engine, turns on the air conditioning, and reclines his seat. Driving is impossible here, but the AC works perfectly. Fuel is plentiful, so staying warm is guaranteed, but there is a key reason. He set the goblins on watch. That sudden temperature drop hints at danger. Besides, the 2 servants have plenty of energy, no sleep needed. They might as well stand guard. The 2 huddle close to the bonfire, eyes scanning the dark, obeying his commands to the absolute letter. When he opens his eyes, daylight is back. He stretches, cuts the AC, and steps outside. Facing the rising sun, he takes a deep, slow breath. The 2 goblins guarding the fire jog over, greeting their master warmly. He asks them if anything unusual happened during the quiet night. Only the sound of seawater hitting the island, they report, nothing else. Good job, he says, sending them into the cabin for food. He sends them inside to grab some breakfast, then picks up his fishing rod. He walks to the edge. He has too much basic bait to burn through. One hand holds the rod, the other holds bread, comfortable fishing. Suddenly, the system pings. Time to claim his regional first-place reward. He gets 20 portions of ordinary bait. He claims it with zero excitement. If it were enhanced bait, he would be thrilled, but this is common. Premium rewards might come later, but definitely not on day 1 or 2. Keeping one eye on his fishing float, he slips quietly into the global chat. But lurking is fine. One panicked survivor types in shaky, broken fragments. People complained of freezing in the cold all night long. But others scoffed, arguing that a simple campfire should have kept them perfectly warm. A third survivor snaps back at the clueless armchair critics. They do not know the real pain of surviving without gear. A bystander quickly crowns this warrior the toughest of them all. Another reveals his incredibly sad dinner, just a single tiny roll and half water. He got so cold and hungry, he actually started hallucinating in his sleep. A joker in the chat asks if he was actually seeing a nuclear bomb girl instead. Then someone else asks why on earth everyone is starving anyway. Fishing should be easy, yet he just got some insane luck. He opened a chest filled with roast lamb, chicken, and sodas. The chat immediately explodes, calling him a heartless flexer who needs to shut up. Another tells him to go eat a peach and just chill out already. Others just post gagging noises. His eye twitches at the screen. Honestly, the chat is absolutely wild, but a sudden tug on his rod changes everything. His insight skill reveals a 2-star chest containing a fishing net. It is designed for catching low-tier treasure, the description tells him. He must put ordinary bait on it, throw it out, and wait for boxes to float in. 10 portions of bait per cast is the optimal amount to use. It can pull up 2-star chests, but warns him to be careful. Pulling too hard might drag him straight into the cold, deep water himself. It has 10 durability. Deep down, he lets out an excited cheer. This is exactly what he needed. The system really understands him. He quickly pulls the wooden box in, pops it open, and grabs the two nets. Calling his two goblin helpers, he tells them to drive stakes into the ground. Next, he attaches 10 pieces of ordinary bait to the first net. He hurls it right toward a treasure-rich zone highlighted by his handy system. After tying the rope to a stake, he repeats the process with the second net. That is 20 bait down, but his mood is significantly brighter at this point. Getting just 2 or 3 chests would make him incredibly happy. Suddenly, a private message pings. It is Wang Dong contacting him again. The guy always fishes up good stuff, so he accepts the incoming chat immediately. Wang Dong asks if he wants to buy a small, ordinary speedboat from him. He fished it up, but is way too terrified to actually use it himself in this sea. Instead, he asks for any fair offer to take it off his hands. Driving a speedboat out in these wild, open waters is incredibly risky. But it might be useful later, and storing it on the water takes no space. So he messages him back, deciding to clear out some inventory space. He offers a wooden house blueprint, requiring 100 pieces of wood. It automatically builds a 15-square-meter home upon activation. Wang Dong has never seen a blueprint before and agrees in complete shock immediately. A proper wooden cabin beats his current flimsy little tent by a massive mile. He lists the trade publicly, and Wang Dong snaps it up in an absolute instant. The speedboat vanishes into a bright white light as the trade completes. Now Wang Dong holds his brand new blueprint, eager to build. He keeps scanning the trade channel for wood listings, since a blueprint alone is simply not enough. Meanwhile, he walks down to the shore and silently triggers the retrieval. A small, ordinary speedboat suddenly appears on the water. Its basic description reads: as a 6-meter boat with 6-person capacity, its 150-liter tank is empty. An outboard motor of 70 to 115 horsepower yields 35 knots. The note tells him he can test drive it around the island after fueling, but not to go too far or get lost. Honestly, the empty tank is no surprise since Wang Dong is not stupid. If there was fuel, he never would have traded so easily. He orders the goblins to drive more stakes into the ground and tie down the boat. Then he heads back to his fishing spot. Although he has gasoline, he does not know how to drive yet. Thankfully, the goblins can handle the testing later, being naturally talented with mechanical gear. Even if they end up breaking it, he will not care since the boat was practically free. Now his focus intensifies as he casts his line with some enhanced bait. He stares intensely at the float for half an hour without a single movement. Just as he blinks to clear his dry eyes, the float drops. He grips tight. The tension is clearly not 5-star level, so he does not bother using advanced technique. His system insight reads a 3-star common wood chest containing one seawater purifier that can clean 100 liters of fresh water daily, showing 100 durability with minimal loss. Pretty decent. He yanks the chest onto the shore. 2 surprisingly large high-tech devices suddenly appear before him. He immediately commands his 2 goblin helpers to start gathering seawater in any containers they can find. They scurry off and return with full buckets. He pours a bucket into the inlet, hits start, and places an empty one at the outlet. He is curious since this device requires no electricity, yet fresh water starts to flow out. He instructs his goblins to keep a close eye on the bucket, and once it is full, use 200 liters daily on the crops. Meanwhile, he walks over to the simple fishing nets. Half an hour has already slipped by, meaning it is time for a check. His system insight scans the first net before he even hauls it in. 6 1-star items, 2 1.5-star ones, and 2 2-stars. The 10 retrieved chests hold a special 20 milliliter mental attribute potion, some fertile soil, and a pack of toilet paper. He marvels at how much better the net is compared to a standard rod. Since it scans the loot before even leaving the water, he shrugs off the mystery and simply accepts that as long as his talent works, that is plenty. Bracing himself, he grips the rope and groans at the sheer weight. 10 chests in a single haul is no joke. Fortunately, these netted chests put up less fight than the ones caught by line. Otherwise, he would have definitely needed his goblin helpers, straining like a heavy ox pulling a massive cart. He drags the net ashore and opens the mental potion chest first. 2 vials of glowing purple liquid appear in his hands. The item description states that 20 milliliters boosts spirit by 210 points, no side effects. Though it fails if base spirit is 5 or higher. Uncorking a tube, he chugs it down. A refreshing chill instantly spreads through his mind, sharpening his thoughts. This lasts for 10 Glorious minutes before fading. Of the 3 potions he has tried, this mental booster easily takes the crown. The pure, blissful sensation is just incredibly satisfying. Feeling slightly lightheaded but energized, he heads over to check the second net. Grabbing the rope, his system insight suddenly flags something unexpected. 5 1-star items and 2 half-star chests, 2 2-star ones, and a common pet chest. These 10 boxes contain 1 adult snow wolf, 30 liters of gasoline, a 6-pack of Sprite, and other items. There is even a pet chest, showing that the variety keeps growing. His insight skill reads the stats: 2 meters long, 70 kilograms. Candidate subspecies of gray wolf, a domesticated pet from a pet container. Suitable for guarding the home, with combat power exceeding an average. Unarmed human, he strokes his chin, not in any rush to open the chest. If he opens the wolf and lets it loose on the island, all he gains is another freeloader. Compared to his goblins, a wolf has absolutely no work value. After a moment, he decides to toss the chest inside his cabin to open later. He already knows unopened chests do not vanish, a clever trick that most players would never think to try since they just cannot resist opening their catches. He drags his second net ashore, hauling all 10 chests inside to sort them. If any other survivor saw the inside of his cabin right now, they would drool with envy, and honestly, who could blame them? It is packed with supplies and unopened chests. In another era, he would easily qualify as proper wealthy landlord. The system pings to announce his time on the leaderboard has reached a full day, offering the rank 1 chest reward. He claims it immediately. The description reveals it contains 1 island fragment of 5 square meters to expand his current island by 5 square meters. He completely underestimated this reward, a single one of these is worth 5 of the +1 fragments he usually gets. From 2-star chests, which are incredibly rare to find, he had only pulled 1 in many tries. He activates both fragments and the island expands visibly, far more noticeable than the earlier expansion. His player panel updates. Level 1 owner with 112 square meters. Strength is 1.4, Constitution 1.4, Spirit 1.9, plus a decimal bonus. His workers remain just 2 low-level goblins, giving him 10 prosperity. Total prosperity sits at 55, split between the house, goblins, and saplings. He notices the island bonus rises with the area, starting to dream big. He imagines expanding this island into a massive continent with power to move mountains. At 200 square meters, his stats would jump again. And if he reaches millions of square meters, his power will be monstrous. But for now, he is stuck on his small island. He shakes the daydream off and opens the chat to search for good trading deals. People are mocking some guy who is so hungry he wants to dive and grab chests directly underwater. Another player responds that it is a great idea, while a third warns that anyone going down into the water might never return. He screams a warning to stay out of the water because something is lurking below, then suddenly cuts off. Talk about an eerie cliffhanger. The next message asks if he is alive, begging him to explain what is underwater. Our hero frowns, wondering what else could possibly be in the sea besides these chests. If there really is something down there, his insight skill should have picked up on it, yet after so many casts, he has detected absolutely nothing. That alone is a problem, suggesting system rules might limit him. His current strength makes it impossible to perceive any real danger yet. Meanwhile, the chat gets tense as people speculate about whether monsters might attack at night. Another player chimes in, insisting an attack probably won't happen within 7 days, though after that, nothing is certain. Someone else tells him to stop being a jinx. Then another stands up, claiming fear is completely useless and the only thing left to do is try to survive. But someone immediately pours cold water on that optimism, telling the chat that a barren island has no tree bark to chew on, meaning their fished-up food won't last. Someone else sighs that the top 10 are obviously fine on food and water, getting so much bonus bait every day. Another player suggests that as fellow humans, those at the top should help out the ones without resources. Someone else snickers, asking if the top-ranked powerhouse is their father or why anyone would expect him to share his hard-fished resources. The main character's brow twitches at the chat, completely unsurprised that some players are already trying to guilt-trip the leader. Classic human nature, right? 5,000 people in one region is a wild mix of former officials, nobles, ordinary commoners, street thugs, ex-convicts, and even heinous criminals, all mixed in with Naive students who still hold onto their innocent, romantic ideals. A mix like that guarantees friction. He figures the naive types have already been scammed out of their supplies and are probably helping the scammers count their money. Sure. Enough as that thought crosses his mind, someone warns the chat that a woman named Wang Chan Chen scammed him out of food. Another player asks for the full story, asking if it happened mid-flirt. You really can't make this stuff up. Scammed at this stage is almost impressive. He cuts in, posting his own message letting the chat know he is buying island area fragments and that owners can private message him with food, fresh water, or other items in exchange. He pins the message, triggering intense speculation about what the top player wants now, and sneers directed at anyone too dense to read properly. Suddenly, someone realizes the new potential and tells the chat that with his guaranteed bait today, he just reeled in a 2-star chest that gave him a +1 fragment, and he needs to trade with the top-ranked powerhouse. Others immediately express their envy. Island area fragments are also inside the 2nd through 10th place reward chests. The only difference is the actual size of the territory added. In 1st place, he opens the +5 fragment, while 2nd place gets a +3, 3rd place receives a +2, and 4th through 10th all received +1s. The top 10 will obviously not trade these for basic daily necessities, since their starting supplies aren't too bad even if their stock isn't nearly as diverse as his. Right then, a private chat request pings from Oil, who meets the trading conditions. He accepts. Oil greets him as the top boss, asking how much food and water a +1 fragment trades for. On his island, Oil looks incredibly pale, his lips cracked, his body already starting to dehydrate. He had pulled 0 fresh water from his 10 gifted bait, and 8 of his 10 chests were completely damaged. The other 2 were ordinary 1-star chests, giving him 10 pieces of wood total. From his starter chest, he had only opened a loaf of bread and a 500 milliliter bottle of mineral water. Without that, he would have already given up. The player who survived last night purely on righteous spirit was indeed Oil. The main character thinks for a moment, balancing how much to give. Too little, and Oil hesitates. Too much, and he will struggle to get more from luckier survivors who are also running low on basics. He messages Ool that a 1+1 fragment is worth 15 liters of fresh water, 10 kilograms of rice, and a windproof lighter. Ool hesitates, completely unsure if the offer is too low, but without this deal he might not survive the night, and any other offer would probably be even worse. Right now, only the top 10 survivors can actually spare major supplies. He tells himself to accept the trade instead of waiting around, because daily messages are capped at 10, and he already wasted several chatting earlier. Plus, he still needs to reply. Ool asks if our hero can throw in some cold weather gear, pointing out he is the first one trading fragments here, otherwise he will freeze tonight. Our protagonist agrees to add an extra blanket, telling him he is posting the official offer on the channel right away. This lets Ool place his bid directly. He actually has plenty of winter gear, all locked away in unopened wooden chests. He cracks one open and lists deal: 15 liters of fresh water, 10 kilograms of rice, a windproof lighter, and a blanket, all for 1+1 island fragments. Ool accepts instantly. The trade goes through successfully. He grabs his new fragments and activates them immediately. His island expands from 112 to 113 meters. He designs a layout for future builds, then fishes. His insight ability warns him that underwater resources here are way too scarce, so he moves around. After shifting spots a few times, insight reveals a 5-star chest resting 5 meters down. He is amazed at how detailed his insight skill has become. Perhaps his power has leveled up, or constant use is naturally upgrading his unique ability. Previously, the feedback only told him whether an area was rich or empty. Now it details exact star ratings. Talk about a massive upgrade. He hooks some premium bait, casts exactly where the skill pointed, and waits. 10 minutes later, the line snaps tight. Insight alerts him to a 5-star wooden chest. It holds 100 forged profound iron, but reeling it in requires a brutal, hour-long struggle of pulling back and forth. The item description reveals this rare metal is a crucial upgrade material to upgrade his regular rod to black iron grade, along with ice, silkworm silk, and a blueprint. Even better, his enhanced talent scans the underwater chest the second it bites. He doesn't have to guess what's down there. Following the proper reeling technique, he hauls the chest up. His double happiness skill triggers, granting him 2 pieces of The iron, they sport a sleek, jade-like gloss and feel incredibly heavy. They resemble magical components from the cultivation novels he used to read. Before transmigrating, he wonders if he might eventually reel in actual martial arts. Manuals as chest ratings rise, the loot variety only grows, he guesses. That above 5-star wooden chests lie black iron, bronze, silver. In gold tiers, while he cannot be completely certain, he carries his new loot into the cabin, which is currently serving as his storage room. After putting them away, he jogs back to the shore, his refined vision locates a cluster of 1-star chests nearby, while another section holds 2-star treasures. One incredibly dense spot recommends he drop his line there. He casts a net, telling his goblins to bring it over. They jog right up. After attaching 10 ordinary baits he casts, he orders the goblins to drive the stakes down. They work fast from their experience. Gripping the rope, his system warning instantly flares up. Crates are sliding into the net. He must hold tight to avoid getting dragged under. This requires heavy lifting. He loops the thick rope around a wooden stake. He orders both goblins to grab hold and brace themselves, waiting strictly for his signal. When he shouts they must pull with everything they have got, the two slaves scramble forward. They grip the tightening line. Suddenly, his system alert shows a 10th chest has entered the net. The net might rip if they wait another second. Pull, he screams to the others. Rope snaps taut as all three strain together. It is a brutal tug of war. Fortunately, anchoring the rope to the stake gives him an unbeatable leverage advantage in this fight. Resistance from the deep slowly weakens. With a massive heave, he begins hauling it up. He drags the net further onto the shore. Beside him, the goblins pull with bulging veins. The massive net breaks the surface. One final, desperate pull drags the entire catch onto land. He collapses on the sand, exhausted. This fishing business is pure physical torture. But the rewards make it all worth it. Once his breathing steadies, he examines the catch. The haul includes 9 wooden chests and 1 dangerous 2-star monster chest. Inside, he finds a strength potion, a constitution booster, and a spirit-boosting elixir. He also loots an island expansion fragment, an energy crystal, and a special thermal suit. There is a blueprint for a thorn fence, killer plant seeds, and a growth accelerator. Finally, a low-level goblin rolls out. He has got another perfect 3-piece starter potion set. He scored that missing island fragment, a rare crystal, and more free monster labor. His focus turns to the brand new loot he has never encountered before. The special suit keeps him totally dry and warm, resisting temperatures down to -30 degrees. Meanwhile, the thorn fence blueprint can enclose a 10 by 10 meter perimeter when built. It builds a 2-meter high barrier, though it requires 100 thorns to complete. Then there is the carnivorous seed. It grows a vicious beast of a plant. Once fully grown, it serves as a base guard, capable of easily shredding ordinary humans. Natural growth takes a full month just for the seed to germinate. It requires up to 9 months of growth and another year to finally flower. But unless someone chops it down, the deadly plant will live practically forever. That is where the accelerator potion comes in. It is a supercharged nutrient mix. It condenses a whole year of natural growth down to just 3 days. All it takes is mixing basic energy crystal powder with fresh water. Talk about broken. Those energy crystals are looking like an absolute early game cheat. Shaking his head, he steps forward to collect his 3 new attribute potions. Without hesitating, he downs the strength, constitution, and spirit potions one after another. The triple stack hits his system with overwhelming force. Luckily, his system detects no lethal danger. He endures the agonizing burning sensation as the chemical cocktail rewrites his biology. Meanwhile, the chat is absolutely buzzing with insane rumors. Someone claims they just pulled a living human survivor straight out of a chest. Lucky Finder explains it is a male servant who instantly swore lifelong loyalty. This new slave shows up on his panel with 60% base loyalty. Other players warn him to stay alert because low loyalty means betrayal. Naturally, the chat immediately starts wondering if they can pull bunny girls next. He is told to focus on surviving the novice period first, the man who opened. The chest is none other than Wang Dong, the foolish young traitor who has dealt with him twice. His new servant is a stout, honest-looking middle-aged man. And Wang Dong mutters under his breath, wishing he had fished up a girl instead. The system alerts him that his servant, Gap, senses Wang Dong's disregard. With loyalty dropping by 1, it warns that below 60 loyalty, the servant will resist, and below 0 he turns hostile. Wang Dong curses. Did he summon a simple servant or a grandmaster. Suddenly, Gap's stomach rumbles beside him, and Wang Dong instantly knows how to raise his loyalty. He promises to take him out for a good meal, quickly preparing a bucket of instant noodles for Gap. And handing the master calm noodles over, calling him by name, Gap accepts calling him Lord, picks up the chopsticks and starts eating. Wang Dong mutters to himself that this guy acts like someone from ancient times. Gap takes a bite and his eyes light up. The system notifies him that Gap felt cared for. With loyalty up by 10, Wang Dong breathes out. Finally stabilized, Gap devours the noodles and soup, casting a longing look at Wang Dong, who silently curses that Gap is a glutton, but unable to resist the loyalty boost, he obediently prepares another batch. If Wang Dong saw the loyalty of the main character's goblins on Soyu Island, compared to Gap's, he would be absolutely green with envy. After the 3 potion pain on our hero wears off, he shivers involuntarily. He roars awesome at the sky. To release the leftover charge, he stretches, deciding to open the monster chest. More labor won't hurt, since he cannot build the island alone. He fires the pistol, and the released low-level goblin drops on the spot before it can even register where it is. The 2 working goblins kneel in fright. He takes the enslavement option, and double happiness grants him 2 new low-level goblins. He calls the working pair over, directing them each to take one of the new goblins and teach them their daily chores. They quickly reply that they understand their tasks and perk up, even though they are all his slaves, with more goblins leaders among them naturally form. Goblins are intelligent enough to have their own clever little thoughts. If they were not bound by absolute loyalty, he would never entrust these chores so casually. He opens the island expansion chest from the net and uses it on the spot, gaining 2 more square meters. As for the carnivorous plant seeds, he digs a pit in a chosen spot, drops them in, covers the soil, and pours the plant growth accelerator on top. Soon, a tiny sprout breaks through the ground right in front of him. He marvels at how magical this compound is. If this had existed in his old world, anyone who researched it would be showered with prestigious awards. He then plants the second seed in another spot. Other survivors are still working themselves to the bone for basic daily necessities, while he has already moved past worry into planning. He scouts the edge of the island for new fishing zones. His insight skill reads that one stretch is full of damaged chests and half-star garbage, while another is full of 1-star items. After several relocations, he finally finds a stretch dense with 2-star zones. Highly recommended for net casting. He has the goblins drive stakes immediately so they do not run out of time. He casts the net, wraps the rope around the stakes, claps his hands, and walks to the massage chair. With 4 goblins on hand, he does not need to be involved in pulling. He just has to watch the net while he monitors. Using his insight skill, he opens the chat to find Wang Dong's older message. The post discusses getting humans from chests, making him wonder if it is possible. But loyalty is the real issue. Human servants might start with 0 trust. Building rapport takes time. He would much rather have completely loyal monster subordinates. On the public channel, some guy complains that he is tired of eating well. He says he is sick of eating high-grade fish and meat every single day. He literally asks how to catch less food just to feel hungry again. Naturally, the chat goes ballistic, with people calling for the show-off to be stopped. Others hope some angry deity multiplies his wish and starves him to death. But the show-off just doubles down, calling them all sour and jealous losers. He proudly brags about his arrogance, asking what they can even do about it. Looking at the screen, our main character can see this guy is incredibly bored. The show-off keeps mocking the whole channel, laughing at everyone eating plain buns. He asks if they are envious and rubs it in their faces. He tells them straight up that they cannot do a single thing about it. The entire chat wall erupts in absolute fury as tempers flare everywhere. Users call him a despicable dog and demand to know why there is no report button. Some ask for a top-ranked player to punish him, while others make a bet. They bet he is fishing with his lifespan and will drop dead any second. Almost everyone joins in the cursing because the guy is rubbing salt in their wounds. Farming plenty of supplies is one thing, but mocking struggling people is another. Surprisingly, none of the top 10 players on the regional prosperity ranking speak up. Our main character just reads the wall and realizes the guy is just bored. Arguing with him would be a waste of valuable time, better spent fishing. Meanwhile, on another tiny island, an effeminate man sits in front of his screen. He wears a smug, sly smile as he mutters insults at the chat. Calling everyone losers, he grabs his fishing rod and jogs to the edge. But get this, those angry users were right. He is literally fishing with his life. His talent is an A-rank lifespan luck boost, trading years for temporary luck. Burning 3 days of his life grants him exactly 3 minutes of luck. This unique ability is how he managed to haul in so many daily supplies. If he were not so stingy with his lifespan, he would easily be top 10. Meanwhile, our main character orders his 4 goblins to pull in their net. The haul is 2 1-star chests and 8 2-star chests. Inside, he finds an island fragment, an energy crystal, and enhanced bait. Along with some fiberglass, 50 kilograms of rice, thorns, and a simple toilet. No attribute potions dropped this time, but that toilet is a massive win. It completely saves him from the sheer embarrassment of squatting over the open sea. Out of everything, the enhanced bait catches his eye. Only one ingredient is missing. But that final material has not appeared anywhere on the trade channel. Maybe nobody has fished it up yet, only higher tier chests speed up development. Any other survivor would be completely stunned by his insane progress. The central area of Soyu Island now features a gorgeous European-style cabin. There are 2 Toyotas parked outside and fruit trees planted in fertile soil, along with 4 low-level goblin slaves and a massive, overflowing pile of supplies. Cabin, if only his island were larger, he could already build that thorn fence with the materials gathered. He activates the new fragment and the island grows by 2 meters to 117 meters total, still under an 11 by 11. Layout too small for a 10 by 10 thorn fence, otherwise he would have no room to fish. A clap of thunder shakes the sky, making his scalp prickle. He looks up. The previously clear sky has darkened. The system pings to warn all survivors that unpredictable weather is hitting, and a localized heavy rain is about to arrive. With a slightly higher chance of fishing high-star chests after the rain, he groans. At this unpredictable weather, he orders his 4 goblins to cover the saplings and supplies with tarpaulins, then walks quickly toward the cabin, hoping there will be no strong winds, since heavy sea gales are practically a death sentence. He steps into the cabin and opens the chat to see how many people are affected. Someone laments they are going to die because they only built a broken thatched hut. Another complains they just have logs under a tarp. A third consoles the channel, noting the system promised better post rain fishing. Another agrees the storm is perfect for a shower and water collection. Someone else asks if anyone considered strong winds, and the first speaker realizes he completely forgot. Many are affected. The goblins report from the door that everything is secured. He tells them to come inside, since sick laborers would cost him money. They squeeze inside. The patter of rain on the cabin starts. Immediately, he hears no howling wind, which is a massive relief. Common sense says heavy rain at sea brings strong winds, but the 7-day protection period might be shielding them. The chat is in absolute chaos. Still, someone celebrates not having to trade precious food for water. Another curses that his roasted meat is totally soaked. Someone else mocks the show-off, telling him he deserved it. Another calls the rain beautiful, while the show-off insults his rival's bow-legged grandmother. His eye twitches. He is definitely not foolish enough to join these chatroom clowns. He pushes the cabin window open. Raindrops splatter into thick, bean-sized droplets. They hit the ground. Luckily, his cabin is system-built. Otherwise, this rain would leak. The walls block the storm perfectly, and his supplies stay dry. The 4 goblins curl up in a corner. Suddenly, his insight skill spots a damaged wooden chest containing dry branches. He looks out the window and spots a damaged chest sitting right at the edge. Honestly, who would have thought storms brought actual treasure? It seems heavy rain washes chests onto land too. He monitors the chat. Sure enough, even in this brutal world, some people are willing to share info. A survivor asks if anyone else had chests wash ashore. Another user asks what he is talking about, but a third claims they just put on a tarp when a chest washed up. Another swears nothing is going to stop him today. Either he or the chest is going into a coffin. Someone tells him he is daydreaming, warning him to his morning pee better not be sugary sweet. Another calls him incredibly lazy, just waiting for free handouts to land at his feet. Another wonders what the highest star chest washed up will be. He sits deep in thought, staring at the sea. This rain is basically welfare for survivors on the verge of dying. He shakes the thought off and closes the window. A quick-witted goblin scurries over, presenting a plate of fruit. He takes a peach and he casually tells them to share the rest. They thank him as master, completely overjoyed. Since for low-level goblins, getting any food is a pure delight, compared to our protagonist, Wang Dong, is also stuck hiding from the rain inside his own cabin. If he saw the main character's leisurely setup, he would sell his servant Gap in minutes. Wang Dong sees chests washing onto his island and tells Gap to go fetch them, but the system pings him that Gap senses Wang Dong's disregard, dropping his loyalty by 5. Gap, safely hiding indoors, looks out at the pouring rain and flat out refuses. Wang Dong curses, wondering if he brought home an ancestor he had treated Gap well to keep his loyalty around 70, but it is dropping again. He fumes that this useless guy has not done anything yet and is just messing with his loyalty stats. It is a total headache. Right then, a private chat pings Wang Dong again. The main character is amused, wondering what he got this time. Wang Dong calls him boss and asks if he wants something good, some free labor. He deduces instantly that the man wants to sell off the human servant because he is struggling with the loyalty mechanic. He messages back that he has no use for a subordinate with 60 loyalty since his island has plenty of labor already, so Wang Dong should keep him. Wang Dong laughs sheepishly and replies that if our hero does not want him, he will keep him for now and get in touch next time he gets something good. He looks at Gap with a massive headache, wondering how to find a way to get rid of him. Gap's current loyalty level allows basic chores, but absolutely not life-risking ones. Wang Dong curses again. Gap notices the commotion and asks his lord what is wrong. Wang Dong quickly dismisses it, then turns back to the rain. Our main character reads the reply and feels a bit speechless. A 60 loyalty subordinate is truly that much of a pain. Clearly, that baseline 60 comes with some heavy restrictions. Wang Dong simply cannot handle it. Brushing it aside, our MC does not take it to heart. He opens the cabin window again and has Insight scan the chests washed onto the island. The new arrivals include a 0-star damaged chest containing a broken iron pot and a half-star ordinary chest containing a roll of sandpaper. There are 8 more chests on the island, with 5 of them being basic half-star wooden chests and 3 being 0-star damaged chests. The highest star rating that washed up is just a half-star. Strangely, the seawater is controlled by some unknown force so that it only washes the outer edges and completely leaves his central seating area dry. Otherwise, he would be busy trying to avoid getting washed away. He does not pay much attention since the highest is only half-star. Even if they all washed away, he would lose nothing of real value. Other survivors are risking getting swept into the sea every time they spot a chest, desperately racing into the rain to grab any chest, damaged or not, before it gets carried away. The storm lasts about half an hour before the sky finally clears. Our guy rushes out, completely ignoring the low-star chests, and scans the sea. Insight spots the faint traces of a 4-star wooden chest beneath the waves, advising him to fish with enhanced bait or move locations. As expected, post-rain spawn odds for high-star chests are up, but a 4-star is not enough for him, so he scans again. The next prompt reveals a 5-star wooden chest 5 meters deep, strongly recommending he start fishing. He equips some enhanced bait, casts his line, and waits. In the regional channel, survivors are sharing their rainy day hauls. One person celebrates a massive upgrade, having braved the downpour to grab 5 half-star chests, yielding rice and fresh green vegetables. One survivor curses over the useless deflated doll he pulled from his rain chest. Another laughs happily because a fresh pack of Furang Wang will finally satisfy his intense craving. Someone else mourns that 3 of his 4 chests were damaged and filled with trash. One player asks the chat if anyone else is suffering quite as badly. He claims he grabbed over 12 chests, with the absolute worst being half-stars. 3 of them were 2 stars packed with high-tier loot, which immediately triggers everyone. They curse him as a massive show-off, asking why the good die young while he survives. Many wonder if his talent is just pure luck. That lucky guy is Pong So Gang, currently cracking open chests on his island. The moment the downpour began, he made a bold move to sacrifice some lifespan for luck. Decisively, he burnt a full 30 days of his life during that 30-minute storm. He is shameless, but he grabs key opportunities. Relying on fishing boosts was risky since chests do not bite instantly. The intervals are highly unpredictable, and luck only slightly boosts the quality. It only increases his odds of pulling high-star chests, which is normal. His talent rating is decent but not godly, so he avoids overspending his lifespan. A hereditary disease means doctors told him he would not make it past 35. Because of that, his early progress only slightly beats the average survivor. Now he is nervously watching the sea, and suddenly his float plunges down hard. That insight reveals a 5-star wooden chest containing island fragments. His special system guides him to keep his pulling speed completely steady at the very start. Then he must yank hard the moment he feels the tension drop. This key fragment expands his island by 10 square meters, bringing double joy. Opening this chest will grant him a massive 20 square meters of total space. After 30 grueling minutes, talk about a real test of patience, he drags it ashore. 2 plus 10 fragments materialize, and he activates them to grow his home. The island expands to 137 square meters, growing significantly. These dimensions are roughly 11.7 meters, but fencing is still tight. He postpones the fence once more, right as a private request from Gay. Chong-yu pops up, which he quickly accepts since he has some spare time. She wants to trade for info on fiberglass, braided line, and carbon cloth. As the 4th-ranked player, she had acquired a +1 fragment earlier. She kept it safe, alongside another +1 fish from a previous chest. Knowing their true value, she makes her move, and he considers the offer. He wonders if she has already gathered all the rod upgrade materials. Instead, he replies that he wants 2 fragments plus a standard energy crystal. In exchange, he will explain the uses and provide a special crafted item. She hesitates at the crystal cost, since one is worth 30 bait. Her talent has only let her save 2 crystals, but her gut trust is strong. She senses this deal will secure her future, so she agrees to trade. He lists the blueprint in exchange for the 2 fragments and her crystal. She buys it instantly, eager to see what she has acquired. Extracting the blueprint, she immediately understands what those materials are for. She sends him a quick thank you, promising to keep in touch. With her questions answered, she turns her attention to placing the new blueprint. She places the 3 materials next to her novice rod, silently using the blueprint. No reply from him. He simply activates the 2 plus 1 fragments, the ordinary. Fishing rod blueprint was useless to him, making a resource trade much better. He figures this blueprint only really matters during these early stages anyway, since he pulled it from a 2-star chest after the server started running for a day and a half. Other lucky players likely have them too. As for whether trading this blueprint lets someone steal his top spot on the leaderboard, he is not worried. Elite players rarely rely on a rod alone. Only talent truly matters, which he understands deeply. Suddenly, his insight reads that the next area is dense with 2-star chests, recommending a net cast. He attaches bait casts and orders his 2 goblins to watch the rope. He scans. Another stretch, but insight reveals mostly useless half-star chests, not worth a net. Advising him to move. Scanning again, his insight reveals an 8-meter deep spot. Holding a 1-star black iron treasure chest, he curses. He cannot fish. That thing, his gear is not ready. A normal rod would snap under black iron chest, and he lacks the proper bait for it anyway. All he can do is stare and look elsewhere. The next spot shows a 5-star ordinary wooden chest 5 meters down, recommending a catch. He locks onto the area and casts. Meanwhile, Gai Chong-yu, who traded the blueprint from him, has finished her own rod upgrade. She also has 1 enhanced bait, and she is debating whether to use it. After some careful thought, she trusts her 6th sense, locking onto the strongest spot she can feel, and attaches the bait to cast. He waits patiently, unlike ordinary survivors still struggling for 2-star chests. Suddenly, his float dips. Insight reveals a 5-star wooden chest containing 1 bottle each of strength, constitution, and spirit attribute potions at 100 milliliters each. The fishing skill requires a patient maneuver with slow pulls and quick releases. Each potion permanently boosts a base attribute by 1 point, up to a limit of 5. This large 3-piece potion set is absolute gold. He tells himself it is a double blessing, adding 2 points each to his strength, constitution, and spirit. He begins reeling it in carefully. Time slips by. The time he drags the chest ashore, it is already afternoon. His stomach growls. Focus made him miss lunch, so he eats first. He carries the chest to the cabin, sits, and orders the goblins to bring out the roasted whole lamb he pulled earlier. The 2 goblins start a fire and turn the lamb. To heat it up, he cuts off a leg and eats. The goblins nearby drool. But without his command, they dare not reach for the meat. He tells them they can share the rest for lunch and dinner. They thank their master for the Reward, the 4 goblins carry the lamb slightly farther away to eat. Without annoying him, he happily gnaws the leg he has plenty of. Food, he can never finish the whole lamb, and saved meat tastes bad later. Better to let the goblins eat it, they still do the heavy chores and heavy labor, and let's be real, these ugly little guys work incredibly hard. Otherwise he would not keep them, after the leg and a bottle of juice. He burps, stretches, and sits on the massage chair clutching the 5-star chest. He triggers double happiness, and 6 100-milliliter tribute potions land in his arms. He is not brave enough to chug all 6 at once. They are several times stronger than the earlier potions. After thinking for a moment, he decides to take them one bottle at a time. He uncorks and chugs the first. An intense sensation sweeps his whole body, making him tremble involuntarily. After about half an hour, medicine is fully exhausted. He exhales heavily and chugs the second. 3 hours pass. He finishes all 6. Drenched in sweat, he feels an unprecedented exhilaration, like he could punch a tiger to death. He brings up his panel, level 1. Island Lord with 139 square meters. Named Soyu, age 23, strength 3.8 plus 1.39, constitution 3.8 plus 1.39, spirit 4.3 plus 1, and 3900s, spirit 4.3 plus 1.39, slaves 4 low-level goblins for 20. Prosperity Island prosperity at 120 points, still rank 1, broken down into wooden house at 10, goblins 20, saplings 15, fertile soil 20. Carnivorous plants 10 and others, with talents triple S grade insight and unknown. Grade double happiness still upgradable, with the island bonus. All 3 of strength, constitution, and spirit are now past the 5-point barrier. He cannot calculate exactly how strong he is right now, but has another method of estimating it against the goblins. Looking at a low-level goblin, the panel reads slave. Loyalty 100, unable to betray, strength 1.5, constitution 2, spirit 1.5, skill basic construction, with a description telling him they are the cheapest labor force, surviving on a small amount of food, with the common language implanted. The combat power comparison line tells him the 3-dimensional attributes between them differ significantly, and that without weapons he can fight 30 of them at once. After glancing at the combat power comparison Insight has just handed him, he cannot help feeling a flicker of excitement. He has finally moved past the weakling tier, and the next time he runs into a monster chest like a goblin, he can simply go straight at it. Who would not want to be as strong as possible? Then the system pings to warn all survivors. That night is about to fall. The temperature will drop significantly, and they should take precautions against the cold. So fast already, he thinks, as the sky darkens at a visible rate. He extends a middle finger to the sky, scurries into the cabin, and puts on his special cold weather gear. 6 potions in a row really did burn that much time. He steps out of the cabin, sets up the solar lamp, and decides to try night fishing. With his base spirit attribute past 4, he is energetic and not sleepy at all, and the bumps in strength and constitution mean today's fishing barely tired him. Before casting, he checks the chat by habit. The wall is in its usual mix. Someone curses the cold, someone calls out fellow fishermen as superior beings and rallies the channel for night fishing. Another snaps that he cannot fish without bait and would have starved without the rain. Hiccups today. Another grumbles his underwear is still wet. A more level head reports that with the only 2 bait portions he had left after the rain, he caught a 1.5-star chest, so post-rain odds really are up. Another nearly got dragged into the water by a chest today and only saved himself by letting go, fishing rod and all, which the channel mocks him for relinquishing. Most people are still in fairly good spirits, but these first few days are. Survival is likely as long as nobody acts foolish, since the islands are tiny and not completely wild jungle, making the chat act more like mental comfort than a tactical hub. Meanwhile, people keep complaining about how fast his prosperity is rising, calling him a god, and whining that their first thatched hut earned only 1 prosperity point, while joking that he must be paying to cheat. Another tells the chat that even if he is cheating, he would never admit it, and that anyone wondering if he lacks accessories should not even bother. He rubs his chin and lets them speculate. As long as he stays completely silent, who will know about his talent? While he is thinking, the channel devolves into reincarnator scams. Someone claims to be Chin Zai Wang, alive in his imperial mausoleum, asking the channel to send him bait so he can repay them 100-fold from his treasures. Another claims to be Nua, starving, offering to mold a girlfriend for whoever sends food, once the first scammer starts, a long string of copycats piles in. He is annoyed since this is clearly a coordinated scam syndicate that transmigrated together and is back to its old tricks. Now that bait is scarce, the lead scammer is also frustrated because no one in the channel is biting, and the 10-message-a-day cap is suffocating his silver tongue. He was once a pyramid scheme leader who tricked believers into thinking that tens of thousands would multiply into 10 million. Someone in the channel finally tells everyone not to fall for it, warning that those scam messages are all targeting their last bait portions and should be. He throws together something to eat, finishes quickly, and walks to the edge. The solar lamp and headlights of both Toyotas light up the entire island brightly, though visibility into the deep water is much worse than during the day. His insight only reads the water close to the shore with no information beyond that. The first scan tells him there is a small monster under the sea, warning him to be careful. His brows furrow. After 2 days of fishing around his island, he has not detected a single living creature in the water other than the goblins he opens from chests. Now there is one, and the timing matters. Suddenly, a sound of something breaking the water surface catches his attention, and the lights catch a fleeting glimpse of the creature surfacing. Insight reads it for him as a sea monkey with strength 3.5, constitution of 3.5, spirit of 1 with great strength, weak nerve pain, sensation, and difficult to kill with firearms unless vital spots are hit. The description says it is one of the monster's new survivors may encounter after the 7-day protection period. Within those 7 days, it will not attack the island thanks to the barrier, though it can still lurk nearby, and diving into the water is suicide. The combat power comparison tells him it can be defeated on land but easily worn down to death underwater. He wonders if the brave guy from a few days ago who went diving had run into one of these. He is not panicked. Most fear comes from the unknown, but once insight lays out the data, he can accept it. He scans the illuminated water and finds no other sea monkey. Maybe this one dove too deep for his insight to read, even if the monkeys want to attack. That would be after the protection period, so worrying now is pointless. He keeps fishing instead. Suddenly, insight detects a 5-star chest beneath one stretch and recommends fishing. He scans the water, locks a spot, hooks the enhanced bait, and casts. He waits whether night fishing has some hidden buff. The float dips in under 3 minutes. His insight triggers. It is a 5-star ordinary wooden chest. Inside is 100 refined goose feather saber, requiring perfect fishing control. To balance tension and slack, the weapon is forged from 100 refined profound iron, cutting through metal easily. It is incredibly sharp, with a blade length of 118 centimeters and a width of 3.5. It has a reverse edge near the tip, making it a perfect melee weapon. He follows the proper technique, pulling the chest ashore easily now that both his strength and constitution have increased. He cracks it open. The double happiness perk triggers and grants him 2 sabers. Both blades plunge straight into the ground before him, gleaming with a cold, deadly light. He draws one and swings it casually. Balance and weight feel absolutely perfect in his hand. If any average survivor at this stage tried to swing this, their low stats would quickly fail them and leave them exhausted, but his high attributes make this completely effortless. Taking off a sea monkey head in one strike is no exaggeration. He silently mourns for 3 seconds for the monsters eyeing Soyu Island. After practicing a dozen quick swings in the empty air, he sheathes it. With his current physical power and a weapon this sharp, any invading sea monkey gets sliced down instantly. He has never trained systematically in swordsmanship, but a chaotic flurry of strikes can kill a master if speed holds. His raw power is already far above the sea monkey baseline. With night fishing off to a great start, he strolls the island edge. Insight reveals an area dense with 2-star chests, suggesting a net. He calls the goblins to bring it. They scurry over. He attaches 10 ordinary baits and casts. He secures a stake and ties off the rope quickly. This simple net is a beginner lifesaver. He casts a second net at another spot using the exact same method. Meanwhile, Wang Dong is also trying to fish tonight, but he gets scared out of his wits. He had set up 2 massive flashlights, preparing to relieve himself when a dark shadow flashes across the water nearby. He shivers violently, almost peeing on his hands. As he retreats quickly, yanks up his pants and stares at the water. He swallows hard, wondering if sea ghosts are actually real. He pinches his thigh, and the sharp pain confirms there are monsters in the ocean. He opens the global chat to ask if anyone has seen monsters in the water. As the 10th place player, his message gets noticed immediately. People ask what kind of monster. Another wonders if it is the diver beast. One person guesses a sea ghost straight from a horror novel. Others joke about sea monkeys. The global chat completely lights up over the message from Wang Dong. With no real answers in public, he reaches out privately to him, begging for help as lives are at stake. The notification pings right as he is busy fishing. He realizes Wang must have seen the sea monkeys too, accepting the private chat instantly. With high spirit stats, his mind is razor sharp, piecing it all together. He sends a warning back: if you are not dead, tell them everything. Saw otherwise, no thanks, no nightmares wanted, thanks. Then the guy fires back quickly, saying he survived and describing a scaled monster that resembles a human. He saw nothing else. Still, the clever buyer figured out something from the chat. Ordinary survivors do not know what this beast is. He tells him he might paid exchange 1 crystal for info, pure robbery. He winces. He spent 2 whole days reselling some of his bought intel. Bought from him, but a whole crystal for this monster intel is too steep. He asks if it can be cheaper. Our guy does not reply. Minutes pass. Complete silence later, the buyer finally accepts that he is being ignored, reluctant to spend his precious crystal but terrified of offending him. He sends a polite message, claiming he will trade when he is rich. His eyelids twitch and he keeps fishing. Suddenly the chat takes a turn as the monster talk gets shouldered aside. A survivor announces he figured out the exact use of ordinary energy crystals. Crushed and mixed with 300 grams of flour, they make 30 bait portions. The chat wall explodes. People celebrate the news and praise him as a saint, contrasting his amazing generosity with whoever kept the secret to themselves at first and refused to share. Another sniper trashes the quiet keyboard warriors who never share a thing, predicting that once the beginner protection period ends, they will die with nothing but their big mouths left. Naturally, many insults target him because he has dominated the #1 rank since day 1. Nobody can direct message him either due to his strict filters. Jealousy is just human nature. That is exactly why he stays silent unless he is trading for something useful. He does not care what they think. His only goal is survival, not petty digital fights. The other top 10 survivors watch coldly, some of them sneering at the screen. They know this place is full of idiots who will weep when the top ranker finally gets the power to punish common survivors. As for Wang Dong, seeing the name of this generous hero makes him want to stab the guy twice. The sheer audacity is unreal, considering that man paid Wang Dong valuable resources just to get the recipe. His name is Lai Jiang, who bought the bait secret from Wang Dong and shared it immediately. He knew the information would leak eventually anyway, so he chose to strike first and build a generous public reputation early. Now his ultimate goal is to exploit that newly built trust to scam desperate survivors. The light screen before him is flooded with incoming messages. His mouth twists into a smirk like a fish swallowing his bait. How many? You just know a lot of gullible survivors are about to get absolutely wrecked. Meanwhile, our main guy just pulled up a rather unique item, the water repelling bead lets a person push away water underwater for 2 hours, reaching a maximum depth of 50 meters and recharges 10% per hour. He spins the artifact in his fingers, wondering if he should send a goblin down to explore, but he quickly drops the idea. Sea monkeys are lurking below and a goblin scout would just become fish bait, plus visibility at night is completely zero, so he decides to slip one of the beads around his neck and pockets the second. Suddenly, a goblin alerts him that the fishing net is moving. He jogs over, seeing 3 1-star and 7 2-star monsters caught inside. The haul includes fiberglass, a simple net, and a 20-milliliter physique potion, 200 rounds of Type 59 ammo, and a +1 island air fragment, an ordinary loyalty potion, a diesel generator, some steak, and a box of mai and 2 large tents. He orders his goblin to haul the net up. The creature strains and obeys. Every single cast brings up 6 or 7 2-star chests, which proves just how wealthy his sanctuary has become. While other survivors choke down plain bread and freeze on cold water, he actually has an entire cabin just for storing chests. Even with a simple net and decent bait, normal people simply cannot match his crazy pace. because they cannot target the high-value zones to land those lucky 2-star chest drops. But with his baseline set to 1.5 stars minimum, plus double happiness, the math is fully on his side. The heavy net drags ashore and he sorts the loot. He grabs the chests containing the +1 fragment, the 20 milliliter physique potion, and the loyalty potion, then orders his goblins to carry everything else to the cabin. This basic loyalty potion lets a low-level servant gain 30 loyalty points quite easily. It is highly recommended to use this when a servant already hits 70 loyalty. To trigger an absolute fanatical devotion, pretty solid item, he realizes, and get this now. Maybe acquiring Wang Dong's servant isn't completely out of reach, but since he already rejected the guy, he isn't going to crawl back and ask directly. The thought lingers while he works. Honestly, one extra low-level helper won't change his life much. He activates the 2+1 fragments first, then quickly chugs the 2 physique potions. Either his body has built a tolerance from the previous doses or his baseline is already high, but the warm tingling feels faint and the boost lasts barely 5 minutes. If his status screen hadn't bumped up Constitution, he'd suspect these were total fakes. Time to get every base attribute to 5, he tells himself, grabbing his simple fishing net to circle his island again. His insight scans stretch after stretch of worthless 1-star or damaged chests, none of them even worth a single cast. After a dozen relocations, he finds nothing and wonders if he has been fishing too aggressively for the chests around his island to properly respawn. He sinks into his massage chair, lights a cigarette, and decides to lurk in the chat. Scrolling back, that wall has been mocking him all night. He couldn't care less. Insults don't cost him anything. His life is absolutely incredible, and they can't even imagine it. No one is truly selfless anyway, and he's no saint. The night owls are still awake. One survivor jokes that the big shots are busy fishing, while everyone else just floods the channel with 10 messages a day. Another tells him to cut the jealousy. Count how often the top 10 actually speak, pointing out that the top ranker only posts trade announcements before vanishing. Another sighs that this is already the second day of envying the boss while desperately missing his girlfriend. A crude joke suggests a cheap inflatable substitute, which is quickly rejected with a curse. Another complains about the freezing cold inside their tents. He scans the messages, and since he hasn't used his daily trade limits, he sets up a listing. The channel lacks anything worth buying. He lists himself as seeking strength, constitution, and spirit attribute potions and island fragments, pinning his high-value offers right at the top of the page. The response is instant. Everyone is blown away that the top dog is back, begging him for food or offering favors, completely losing their minds. He knows those attribute potions are major stat boosters. Perfect. Meanwhile, others still scramble for food while he has already moved on. Time to trade. He offers 8 kilograms of rice or 4 kilograms of meat, plus premium cigarettes and 3 wooden stakes in exchange for a single strength potion. Up to 4 of those, 2 constitution potions or 3 spirit potions. He wants them bad. He also adds 1 island area fragment, noting that any of these rare items can be traded. For his entire massive bundle, other survivors have plenty of fresh water after the recent rain, so he decided to tweak his trade conditions just a little. His 2-star chest haul is incredibly rich. Double happiness doubles it all. There is absolutely no way to lose here, plus this trade clears his crowded cabin. Anyone with attribute potions or fragments has to be opening 2-star chests to get them. A cheap price would not work. Suddenly, the chat reacts. People notice he pinned another trade, crying because they have none of these. Trading just a few items would keep them fed for days. Another calls him incredibly wealthy. Some call him rolling in money, accusing him of being cold-blooded for hoarding. Another laughs at a joke about a guy willing to donate $10 million when asked, who turns shy when asked to donate his actual car. The moral is simple. Generosity is easy until you actually have to give up something real. Another laughs that anyone trying to morally blackmail the boss behind a keyboard must still live in a dream world. He pins another warning. First come, first served. Once today's trades are used up, he is not acquiring any more. Someone yells to buy, having just opened a +1 fragment from a 2-star chest, calling his price amazing. The price is no longer considered low, but very few survivors actually possess both fragment and surplus food. The system pings him on a successful trade, asking him to retrieve his new fragment. The listed food instantly disappears. He extracts the +1 fragment, silently uses it, and immediately watches as his island grows by another square meter, reaching 142 meters total. The system pings again for a second trade, this time for a 20 milliliter strength potion. Potions really are up for grabs. Honestly, who would sell that? He is completely amazed. He never expected anyone to part with the best early game stat boost. But other survivors awaken all kinds of strange talents, which can render certain potions completely useless to them. The seller this time has an F-rank strength talent, which already gives him a baseline strength of 5, turning the painstakingly fished strength potion into something completely useless, almost chugging it down himself out of pure frustration before reading the warning label. He does not need to know any of that. Trading simple daily necessities for permanent stat gains is absolute, pure profit. Potions sit mostly inside 2-star chests, so they are still pretty rare. The trade window finally quiets down by the time he finishes drinking. He finishes his strength potion, clenches his fist, and feels the sudden, massive power surge. He gets up and circles his island, looking for any new resource refreshes. His insight skill reads, stretch after stretch of half-star or 1-star spots. Not even worth a net or rod. Suddenly, a reading detects a small sea monkey. Monster 5 meters down. Why not lure it onto the island and beat it to death? Seeing it always annoys him, he decides to try tomorrow in broad daylight. After searching for a while, no other fishing spot is found. He dejectedly carries the rod back to the cabin, drops it inside, and steps out to the bonfire where the 4 goblins are gathered. He tells them in a deep voice to pair up tonight and take watch shifts. The 4 reply that his slaves understand. He nods, pulls the Toyota door open, climbs in, sheds his cold weather gear, switches on the air conditioning, and lies back. He cannot fall asleep at once, but rest counts. He drifts off without even realizing it when he opens his eyes. The sky is bright. He stretches, murmurs how comfortable he is, and pulls the Toyota door open. A goblin immediately approaches and reports that nothing unusual happened around the island last night. He nods and waves him toward the cabin to fetch breakfast, then walks to the simple toilet at the edge of the island to relieve himself. After taking care of business, he washes up, eats, and picks up his rod again, ready to find a good spot. As he searches for a spot, the system pings him to claim his daily bait reward. He claims it since 20 bait equals an ordinary energy crystal. His insight reads a stretch with traces of 4-star and 5-star chests, then another stretch showing a 5-star chest specifically. Fishing is recommended, so he locks the spot, casts his line, and waits. The ranked chests cannot be claimed today, since he has to wait until tomorrow morning. Suddenly, the float dips. Here we go. 5-star ordinary wooden chest containing a smart navigation map to a deserted small island less than 3 nautical miles away. The map records the location of an uninhabited island with an area of 100 square meters, and on that island sits an undamaged island heart that can expand his own territory by another 100 square meters. 3 nautical miles is about 5.5 kilometers. He calculates huge potential with his strength and his insight. This chest poses 0 risk of unhooking. After about 20 minutes of fighting it, he drags it ashore. Double happiness rewards him with 2 palm-sized objects that look like phone screens. A green starting point and a blue end point sit on each like map navigation. Both maps show the exact same island, but he is not upset since double happiness only duplicates items and does not change the destination. He puts down his fishing rod and calls for his goblin subordinates, instructing the 2 he originally summoned to get onto the speedboat. They climb aboard. He had previously traded the boat from Wang Dong, fueled it up, and let the goblins take the wheel. They actually have a knack for mechanics, picking up the controls in about an hour. Of course, they only dare to circle around for a minute or two near his island at first. Now he steps onto the speedboat as well, scanning the water to find no anomalies, and commands the 2 goblins to start the engine and follow his instructions. They start it up, and he points in the direction shown on the map. As they drive in that direction, he sits back, keeping a close eye on the surrounding waters. Oh, talk about bad timing. His insight pings 5 meters below, right behind him are traces of sea monkeys. Safe zone gone. He has left the island's protective radius, and this thing wants to attack. He quickly orders the goblins to speed up. The boat accelerates, and since typical speedboats run 40 to 60 knots, a humanoid sea monkey simply cannot keep pace. The warning prompt on his interface Fades away, he either shook it off or it dove deep down. He remains cautious but calm. About 4 minutes later, he spots a small island up ahead, very similar to his own. A minute later, he reaches the edge. The goblins secure the boat and he steps onto the abandoned land. His insight identifies it as a level 1 deserted island. Its lord died, leaving a completely defenseless island heart at the center. It poses absolutely no threat, but a warning note reveals that once this heart is taken, the entire island will sink within 1 minute. Talk about a major ticking clock. He spots a ruined hut ahead. And the damage looks surprisingly fresh. Did others arrive here before him? As he wonders, that persistent sea monkey crawls back onto the shore. Talk about stubborn, he shakes it off, no time for distractions. Core objective comes first. He sprints directly toward the collapsed hut. Getting closer, he notices massive claw marks shredded into the broken wood. They are deep enough to suggest the previous lord met a grim end. He ignores the scary thought and starts tossing the heavy timber aside. With his upgraded strength, a glowing yellow crystal is quickly revealed. His special skill scans it, identifying it as a level 1 island heart. It has a 6-month lifespan before shattering into useless fragments. By integrating this, he can finally expand his own island. He carefully picks it up, finding it weighs at least 100 pounds. A normal body couldn't lift this, but he sprints to his boat. He has under a minute left before a massive sinking whirlpool drags him down. Leaping aboard, he immediately orders the goblins to start the engine and head back. The ground behind them shakes violently, ready to collapse at any moment. They hit full speed, scanning the water. That angry sea monkey suddenly appears. It reaches the crumbling shore, furious to see its prey escaping. The beast's mind is completely filled with pure, unadulterated rage. Its instincts say these weak creatures should be easy to kill. It plunges back into the freezing water, determined to swim after the roaring speedboat. But it had no chance earlier, and it definitely has none now. Behind them, the island completely vanishes. On the journey back, he notices plenty of treasure chests nearby, but fishing right now is too risky. It is simply too risky on a speeding boat. He heads straight home instead. The system immediately asks if he wants to integrate the island heart. He confirms it. The crystal explodes into a brilliant yellow light. It merges with his land, triggering a massive, rapid growth spurt. It is an incredibly dramatic change. Then, a system notification pings. The system congratulates him for being the very first to reach level 2. This milestone rewards him with 500 prosperity points and a chest. He opens the chest to find a Tier 1 marrow cleansing pill. This powerful capsule allows ordinary humans to wash away their impurities. The exact benefits depend entirely on their base physical constitution. Crafting it requires rare millennium ginseng and blood essence grass. Note explains that the first pill offers the maximum boost. The second pill's potency is halved, and the third is halved once again. The fourth has 0 effect. He chuckles at this cultivation logic. These millennium-grade materials hint at a massive road ahead. Expecting a physical transformation, Soyu opens his level 2 chest, triggering double happiness. This grants him 2 pills. He pops the stoppers, catching a unique, rich medicinal fragrance. He pours out a pill the size of a longan fruit and swallows the first. Warmth immediately spreads. It rushes from his abdomen through his entire body, but his joy lasts barely 3 seconds. He sprints for the makeshift toilet at a speed that would shame an Olympic runner. With immense relief, he finishes up. Roughly half an hour passes. A handsome young man supporting himself against the wooden door slowly emerges. His legs are trembling like crazy. Anyone with a weaker constitution would have died. Taking this pill would have killed them instantly, but after resting on the island for a bit, his color returns. Suddenly, his nostrils twitch. The foul stench pouring off him is unbearable. Disgusted, he starts stripping down and orders his goblins to bring him some fresh water. Having loyal servants is incredibly convenient since they handle all these trivial tasks. They quickly fill up several buckets with seawater and bring them over to him. Soyu lifts the first bucket, pouring it directly over his head to wash away the grime. After scrubbing for about 20 minutes, he relaxes shirtless on his massage chair in clean shorts. He decides to save the second pill for later. Taking 2 at once would be suicidal. He definitely doesn't want to die in a toilet. Suddenly, his insight skill alerts him. Traces of a sea monkey appear below the surface. This persistent creature really wants to die. He vows to kill it underwater today, but first he pulls up his status panel. He is a level 2 lord. Experience is 241 out of 400. Strength 8.84, Constitution 9.04, and Spirit is 4.4. With buff, Spirit reaches 6.44. He also has 4 goblin servants. Island prosperity is 750, with 10 from his wooden house. 20 from goblins, 15 from saplings, 20 from fertile soil, and 10 from carnivorous plants. He also has triple S grade insight and the mysterious, upgradable double happiness skill. This marrow cleansing pill turned out to be incredibly potent. It completely shattered the basic attribute limit of 5. Next, he checks the trade channel. He cancels potion orders, keeping only requests for spirit and island fragments. And trust me, the public chat goes into absolute chaos over this sudden change. A top-ranked player's prosperity score suddenly jumped by 500 points. People are crying out, wondering what crazy treasure this mysterious boss just obtained. They cannot believe anyone's prosperity could skyrocket by 500 in a single moment. Some claim Soyu must be using cheats, playing on an entirely different survival server. Others are literally begging to cling to his thighs and be his followers. Burning with envy, former trading partners Wang Du and Gay Changyu feel hopeless. They stare at the massive gap between them, feeling completely overwhelmed by his growth. Looking at the regional leaderboard, they realize absolutely nobody can ever dethrone this monster. The rest of the top 10 players fall into a stunned, collective silence. Even the high-ranking survivors near the top of the leaderboard are entirely silenced. After all, every ambitious competitor on this server wanted to claim the top spot. These elite survivors had definitely been secretly coveting the benefits of being first. Although Soyu had held the lead before, the gap previously seemed surmountable. Now almost all of his competitors are utterly disheartened and broken. They mutter that their defeat is not due to weakness, but his ridiculous cheats. Realizing nobody can compete, they give up, but Soyu ignores their whining. He ignores the chat, knowing his prosperity jump alone will draw plenty of attention. He has absolutely nothing to gain by reading the chat. People are hundreds of thousands of miles away, so showing off is pointless. Instead, he plots, how can he lure the sea monkey to the surface? He wants to slash it in one strike, ordering a goblin for raw meat. They tie it with a rope, tossing the bait right where Insight flagged. He jumps onto the speedboat, gripping his 100 refined goose feather saber. Staying on the island keeps the beast down, meaning he must leave. He has to draw it out with his current insane strength. Plus that water-repelling bead, even diving in to fight is easy. The odds would heavily tilt in his favor, but taking risks is foolish. So he remains highly cautious, and honestly, who can blame him? Beneath the surface, the sea monkey spots the raw meat floating above its head. It instantly feels insulted, swimming toward the surface at a terrifying speed. By now, it senses that the two-legged prey has left the island. It thinks he is fair game, but with insight it cannot hide. The water suddenly breaks with a sharp sound and a piercing shriek. It pounces straight at him, its ferocious face twisted in brief excitement. That excitement turns to bewilderment. His insight already mapped its trajectory. The second it breaks the water, his saber is already swinging. Beheaded mid-pounce, its body parts splash separately into the cold sea. Bloody patches bloom. He curses at his filthy, blood-soaked speedboat, now covered in gore, and curls his lip in deep distaste. Perhaps past deaths built his tolerance, or his high spirit dulled disgust. Since decapitating the monster felt just like slaughtering a simple chicken. He waits for a chest notification, but nothing comes, causing some frustration. He jumps back onto the island, leaving the cleanup to his goblins. Still, a morbid curiosity makes him want to inspect the body closely. He orders the goblins to wash the speedboat and recover the body. They split the chores, 2 scrub the boat, 2 retrieve the corpse. He heads into the cabin, pulling out the thorn fence blueprint and an unopened chest. Cracking that chest open triggers a double happiness buff. Granting him 100 portions of thorn material, he drops the blueprint onto the pile and silently confirms its use. The system asks where to deploy. Selecting a spot, he watches the wood transform into thorns. Within a minute, the thorn fence stands, encircling a 10 by 10 area at 2 meters height. He doubts this fence can stop sea monkeys with their tough scales, but it should keep other pests out. He pushes the gate open and steps inside. Accessing the island core now requires passing through here. His goblins return from their boat and salvage duty, looking incredibly confused. At the massive new addition, they completely missed while busy working. He steps outside holding his rod as the wash crew runs over. They report the boat is washed, while the salvagers point to the headless body. He walks over to inspect it, reading the system description. No vital signs. The sea monkey has absolutely zero edible value. Recommending it be used as excellent flower fertilizer. He looks at those carnivorous plants. Thanks to the growth accelerant, they are fully mature and about to bloom. He immediately orders his goblins to toss the body right under the roots before heading off. The goblins lift the heavy corpse together. Meanwhile, those two giant plants stand on opposite sides of the island, leaning heavily against the perimeter fence. The monsters drop the dead body right at the base. Instantly, the unbloomed plant begins to move. Thick, writhing roots punch straight into the flesh, slurping it down like a soda. The terrified goblins back away with tingling scalps. Honestly, anyone watching this live would notice that the eastern plant, which was fed on a sea monkey, has slightly better stats than the western one. He uses insight to scan the nearby water. Most fishing spots here are full of useless 1-star and 2-star garbage, definitely not recommended. But then he spots a 2-star cluster perfect for a net. He completely loses interest in low-tier stuff. In low-tier fishing, his actual target is 5 stars since his enhanced bait remains limited. Insight suddenly flags a massive 5-star chest sitting 5 meters below the surface. Highly recommended. He casts his net, wanders around, and then preps his fishing rod. He carefully baits the hook and casts the line. Once it hits the water, the waiting game begins. There is really no skipping this part. Fortunately, he is targeting a very specific spot. It does not take long before that 5-star chest at the From what he has personally observed, high-tier chests always stick. They rarely mix with low-tier chests, unlike those extremely common 1-star or 2-star variants. Every 5-star chest he has encountered so far follows this exact rule. Lower clusters might hide a single 2-star, but the big chests always stay completely isolated. And occasionally, 2-star groups will also carry random lower trash. Suddenly, the float dips. His insight scan reveals a 5-star ordinary wooden chest hiding down there. Inside is one rare portion of 100-year ice silkworm silk, an amazing find. Combined with his rod upgrade blueprint, this incredible material can easily elevate his regular fishing rod. Straight to black iron grade, this special silk survives extreme temperatures easily. And incredibly tough, his second critical upgrade material. Naturally, his spirits lift. A better rod means no more careful, tedious reeling during difficult 5-star encounters, potentially letting him reel in even higher black iron chests eventually. But he still has to solve his severe, enhanced bait shortage. While he has an absolute mountain of ordinary bait, only 3 precious enhanced baits remain now. Once those are gone, he is out. Carefully reeling, he pulls the chest containing that silkworm silk onto the shore, but since he lacks some materials, he leaves it unopened and sets it aside. Suddenly, his private trade channel pings very loudly. His listing for a 20 milliliter mental potion has sold. He only managed to secure a single strength potion and 1+1 upgrade fragment last night instead. Nothing else came in, so he withdrew his strength and constitution orders. This sudden move instantly leaves 2 or 3 potion sellers filled with regret. They were greedily waiting for him to raise the price, but ended up getting nothing instead. None of them expected him to pull out so fast. Truthfully, neither did he. But he refuses to wait around endlessly until his individual attributes finally hit 5 points first. He wants to consume that marrow-cleansing pill immediately. After all, Insight warned him that its efficacy depends entirely on the user's individual physique. A stronger body dilutes the pill, so waiting to use this level 2 reward makes no sense. Saving it for later would be wasteful. He pulls out a mental potion. Glass bottle appears in his hand. He uncorks and chugs. These potions are like a refreshing treat the first time and a mind-clearing rush on the second run. Just like an ice-cold cola in summer. 3 minutes later, he mutters to himself that this time the kick is weaker because his mental stats are higher and his resistance has grown. He pulls open the trading channel, feeling lazy rather. I'm going to fish. Someone named Wang wants 15 wood for a tent. Another seller offers a pack of cigarettes for 1 kilogram of instant food, aside from his own pinned offers. The front page is filled with food trades. He searches for enhanced bait, but gets 0 results. Regular energy crystals also show up empty. Once the utility of energy crystals went public, everyone held onto theirs. Totally expected. He Tries a third search. A 5-star wooden chest shard has exactly one listing. The seller put up one 5-star wooden treasure chest shard of unknown use. Demanding 5 kilograms of food, 1 cold weather item, and 10 pieces of wood. He does not hesitate. He offers up the items and hits buy. The deal goes through. He extracts it and the shard appears before him. The description reveals it is a damaged fragment from a 5-star wooden chest, which can be combined with standard energy crystals to craft enhanced bait. If he had not bought this fragment, he would have had to smash a rare chest and lose its contents. Thankfully, he still has plenty of ordinary crystals left, and the goblins turn out bait whenever supplies run low. Meanwhile, on another tiny island, a survivor named Shay, who listed the shard, almost jumps out of his boots when the notification rings. He had listed that useless-looking fragment he got from his daily guaranteed chest. His face had lit up seeing the 5-star label, then quickly fell when he realized he had no idea what it did, since it looked like a mere block of wood. But Shay was smart, pricing it based on other high-tier chest drops. He threw it on the market, hoping some wealthy player would take the bait. Plenty saw the listing, but everyone skipped it because they did not want to waste resources on a mystery. He was the first to buy. He brings the shard, 2 crystals, flour, and water inside his cabin. He crushes the wood, drops it in a bowl, adds the crystals, pours in the flour and water, and kneads it all. Using these ingredients, he crafts 10 portions of enhanced bait. A single crystal on its own only yields 5 pieces. If he had more shards, he would gladly make more, because while regular players only get 3 to 5-star chests with this. Talk about a cheat code. His luck guarantees 5-star chests every time he gathers the bait. Heads outside past his fence and walks to the water. Over the next few hours, he keeps a steady rhythm of pulling 1 5-star chest hourly. 8 hours later, a system ping warns him to wrap up. Time flies, he mutters, looking up at the dark sky and stretching. 8 massive chests sit before him, making him smile. The loot inside includes a black iron profound hook, the iron grade fishing rod upgrade blueprint, a +10 island expansion shard, 500 kilograms of rice, 300 kilograms of wagyu beef, 10 energy crystals, a rare warning sensor, and some spiked armor. Out of everything, that black iron. The new hook and upgrade blueprint, paired with the 100-year ice silkworm silk, along with the 100 refined profound iron he has, will easily upgrade his ordinary rod to black iron grade. Too bad no black iron bait dropped this time around. The special warning device is a solar-powered piece of tech from another world, generating a circular warning zone of 10 meters to monitor all living creatures within range. Once turned on, the user can manually exclude specific targets from being tracked. The soft thorn armor is another crafted item from another world, granting high-level defense capable of resisting even 100 refined goose feather saber, though a warning notes not to blindly rely on it. Better to dodge. Staring at the armor, his mind flashes back to a show from his previous life, shaking off the thought. He grabs the chest containing the black iron profound hook, the upgrade blueprint, and the +10 fragment. Talk about a jackpot. He gets 2 of each, including 2 extra +10 fragments. He activates them, expanding his island by another 20 square meters. Hurrying into his cabin, he grabs the 100 refined profound iron and ice silkworm silk, laying them beside his basic rod. The system prompts him, asking if he wants to use the black iron fishing rod blueprint, the 100 refined profound iron, the 100-year ice silkworm silk, and the black iron profound hook to upgrade his rod. He quickly confirms. The blueprint dissolves into white light, fusing the rod and materials together. Under a strange force, 5 minutes later, a black iron rod appears right before him. This new rod can reel in black iron grade chests rated 3 stars or below. A system note adds that the line and hook are incredibly sharp, meaning they can double as weapons. He just needs to avoid cutting himself. The next upgrade requires 200 refined profound iron, 2 black iron hooks, 200-year ice silkworm silks, and 1 enhanced blueprint for the next tier. Hearing this, his brow furrows. He originally thought a black iron rod could reel in 5-star chests directly. Looks like he was way overthinking things, as he needs another upgrade first. Still, there is no point worrying about it now since he doesn't even have basic black iron bait anyway. Picking up the rod from the ground, he gives it a casual flick. A loud whoosh cuts through the air. He forgot he isn't by the water. With a curse, the hook arcs right into the cabin wall and gets stuck. Fortunately, the hook is so incredibly sharp that no real damage is done, but he still has to carve the wood with a knife to pull it out. Setting the rod aside, he picks up the special warning device. Its screen flashes to life at his touch, and a robotic voice instructs him to follow the prompts. Placing his middle finger on the scanner to bind his identity, he presses down. With the system set, he activates the monitor. An invisible wave radiates outward. Instantly, a notification pings. 5 life forms are detected nearby, asking if he wants to add them to the safe list. He agrees, and the flashing red warning light shuts off, scanning his perimeter. He takes one last look at the device before tossing it inside. Soon, the sky turns completely dark. The goblins have already lit a warm bonfire and prepped the lamps efficiently. His total haul for the day goes way beyond 5-star loot. Soyu caught a few 2-star items, but threw them into his cabin unexamined. He grabs some food from the cabin, heads past the fence, and walks to the bonfire. With his island now at 261 square meters, he sends his goblins outside. They serve as a night watch, each provided with a tent and cold weather gear. Soyu does not mistreat his loyal subordinates, so he drops them a bag of food. He grunts for them to eat dinner, then begins a quiet patrol around the island's edge. He eats alone. Their green faces are ugly enough to ruin any appetite. His SSS-Rank Insight skill kicks in, reading the surrounding sea areas as scarce. Some zones only hold half-star or 1-star junk, with barely any 2-star chests. No 5-star chests anywhere. He rubs his nose in mild disappointment. Did he overfish the waters earlier today? Maybe the system is still restocking resources. Shrugging it off, he carries his rod back and builds a warm campfire outside. He sets up a pot to fry some steaks, ignoring the vegetables in his chests. He is too lazy to stir-fry them. A meal of meat and fruit is simpler. Besides, asking his goblin guards to handle the cooking is completely out of the question. He throws 7 or 8 steaks on the fire, his growing appetite matching his strength. He is becoming a bottomless pit, completely dependent on his massive stockpile of food. As he eats, Soyu scrolls through the world chat to check on other survivors. 7 days of protection are ticking down, and various crises are rising fast. One panicked user begs for help, claiming a dark shadow watched him relieve himself. Terrified, the poor guy asks the chat if it is a monster. Another user tells him to drop the doubt, confirming it is absolutely a monster. He points out that one of the top 10 ranked survivors survived the exact same threat. Wang Dong chimes in, confirming the creature is lurking near his own island too. He explains that it should not attack within 7 days, but after that, who knows? Soyu wonders how many people have already run into these sea monkeys. After a moment of silence, he decides to compose a quick warning message. He posts a warning: a highly dangerous creature called a sea monkey is lurking nearby. The creature has thick scales and possesses 3 to 4 times the strength of humans. They move with blinding speed in water, though their intelligence is quite basic. He mentions he just killed one, and the world chat instantly explodes with shock. Wang Dong praises him, relieved to know these sea monkeys are actually real. Others thank Soyu, saying the truth makes the unknown monster much less terrifying. Some shudder at the beast's insane physical strength, fearing they would get ripped apart. Others are amazed that Soyu could easily hunt down such a deadly predator. A jealous user snipes, complaining that Soyu should have shared this information sooner. A supporter immediately fires back, telling the ungrateful whiner to shut his mouth. He snaps that stupid complaints are exactly why the top players stay silent. Soyu watches the endless praise flood the screen with total indifference. Basic intel is useless to him now, so sharing it costs him nothing. Whether others survive the sea monkeys is entirely up to their own luck. As for making Wang Dong pay for information earlier, that was a calculated move. Boundaries are necessary, otherwise people will treat him like a free wiki. Wang Dong's private chat pings, then another comes from Gay Shan Yus. Zhao yields also messages, followed by a survivor named Lai Hyan, his brows furrow. Everyone is pinging him at once, prompting the system to suggest a private 5-person room. He agrees, finding it incredibly convenient that the system has such advanced features. Immediately, the other 4 players receive a slightly different invite notification. Seeing Suyu's name, Wang Dong joins the private room without hesitation. Jai Chengyol, Zhu Yil, and Lai Hyan quickly join the chat too. Once they are gathered, Soyu asks what they all need from him. The group hesitates, having expected a private trade rather than a public discussion. Wang Dong speaks up first, asking how to defeat a sea monkey and offering to pay. Jai Changyol, Zhu Yil, and Lai Haiyan all chorus the exact same question. They all offer to pay, clearly believing Soyu has some secret, overpowered combat method. Soyu is amused. He tells them there is no secret to his victory. He simply sliced the monster in half, so they are asking the wrong person. With that, he leaves. He thought their team-up was something major, not this. Once he exits, ownership of the private chat room falls directly to Wang Dong. The remaining players sit in silence until Jai Changyol finally breaks the quiet. She tells the room her gut says Soyu was telling the truth. He really did slice it in half. Wang Dong sighs at the gap. Zhu Yil reasons that according to database info, sea monkeys are not totally invincible. As long as they are careful, killing one should not be too difficult. With attribute potions and other combat items, they can boost their overall strength. Lai Haiyan completely agrees, noting that everyone has a unique talent to survive. Meanwhile, Soyu finishes off his steak and cracks open a cold soda. You can't help but envy his life. While others struggle, he is on vacation. He climbs onto the car roof, lying back lazily with his hands behind his head. He watches the peaceful night sky, but a sudden sharp alarm interrupts his thoughts. A warning blares out, detecting an unknown lifeform approaching from the southeast. He leaps down, rushing to the fence as his awake goblin guards mobilize. Standing by the edge under the moonlight, he spots another sea monkey waiting. The beast stares back at him from the water with pure, murderous rage. Using his SSS grade insight, he scans the creature to reveal her stats. She is a female with 4 strength, 4 constitution, and high pain tolerance. She represents the real dangers waiting after the 7-day protection period ends. The system advises immediate elimination due to her extreme hostility toward him. However, the combat power comparison shows she stands absolutely no chance. With his saber, ending her life will be as simple as killing a chicken. He wonders if the male he slaughtered earlier was actually her mate. She shrieks from the water, clearly wanting to tear him to shreds. Only the protective barrier around the island keeps her from charging right in. He whispers to the creature, asking if she wants to die and offers her a chance. Soyu walks along the edge, and the female tracks his every movement. He steps onto the speedboat where he killed the male, and she loses control. Pure rage and racial instinct consume her mind, driving her to attack. Soyu stands ready with his saber, his insight tracking her underwater movements. She cannot ambush him. With a splash, a massive shadow leaps. The colossal beast lunges under the moonlight, and his saber flashes in response. With a cold stare, he grips his saber, slashing upward as they collide at extreme speed. No instant kill this time. The monkey senses danger and reacts instantly. It guards with its arms mid-pounce. The heavy saber is successfully blocked. Tremendous force rumbles back, but his superior strength easily handles the impact. He stands firm, totally overpowering the beast as it crashes onto the deck. Fortunately, this boat is sturdy, otherwise that impact would have punched a massive hole right through. He rips his blade from its chest bones and immediately delivers a vicious second strike. Having already sacrificed its arms to block the first attack, the beast cannot withstand this one. It dies instantly. Looking at the mess, he silently blames his own carelessness. Staring at the beastly corpse, he resolves to make his future strikes far more precise. He leaps ashore. That failed instant kill ended up splashing way too much. Blood over his thermal suit. Time to change. He orders the nearby goblins to scrub the messy deck and feed the dead monkey to his hungry carnivorous plants. He ducks inside the cabin and steps back out in a clean suit. 2 goblins begin washing the deck with seawater, while the others drag the female carcass away. Curious, he walks over to watch the plants eagerly feast on the freshly delivered meat. The eastern plant has a joyful status, categorized as a basic species. Its abilities are entanglement and rapid digestion, the system description reveals. It grew from common seeds, but consuming this monkey has triggered a slight mutation. If he continues feeding it beast corpses, it will keep mutating into a deadlier form. With the right catalyst, it can eventually evolve into a much higher tier. Most importantly, all island flora automatically recognize him as their undisputed master. There is absolutely zero risk of them turning rogue. This feels like a bizarre farming simulator. And honestly, who wouldn't? This whole thing now has him wondering about their world. He remembers ancient records explaining the legend of Geishu, a completely bottomless chasm. Located billions of miles east of the Bohai Sea, a bottomless void. where everything eventually drains, looking at the items he fished up recently. He suspects Geishu might be the graveyard where all shattered worlds end up. How else could chests from completely different dimensions drift into his hands? Of course, this is pure speculation, beyond a novice lord's knowledge. He shakes the thought away and touches the mutating plant, which sways gently. Though not yet fully sentient, its natural instinct makes it friendly toward him. He watches the goblins finish cleaning, scans the water for threats, and seeing nothing out of the ordinary, walks over to his fenced SUV. He climbs inside, strips off his gear, and enjoys the cool air conditioning. The peaceful night passes quickly, and he sleeps soundly until dawn. The system pings him to claim a daily reward and a 3-day treasure chest. An ornate chest far more beautiful than the usual ones materializes in his arms. Contains 20 island expansion fragments, which is already a massive haul. Talk about a massive upgrade, no wonder a huge smile breaks across his face. Thanks to his double happiness trait, he gets 40 fragments instead. The island grows by 40 square meters, totaling 301, his constitution. Attribute now breaks 10 under the island bonus. The system pings to congratulate him on his stats breaking 10, unlocking a brand new personal combat power panel. He pulls up the display, a level 2 lord with 301 square meters. Experience hits 300 and 1 out of 400, with his strength reaching 6.8. His physique reaches 7, while his spirit gets a nice bump as well, raising his overall stats. That brings his overall combat rating to ordinary tier 6, boosted to black iron tier 0. Regular power keeps him at ordinary 6, while his gear and talents push him even higher. Thanks to island bonuses, he wonders how the top rankers in other regions are doing. He definitely does not feel like the absolute strongest survivor in these starting zones. Back home on Blue Star, the total population was a massive 20 billion people. Excluding kids and the elderly, there are at least 10 billion survivors scattered around. In millions of regions, there are bound to be absolute prodigies with triple S-rank talents. So his current strength is nothing to brag about yet, time to clear his head. He walks back inside, whips up a quick breakfast, and grabs his black iron fishing rod. Eagerly heading straight to the edge, he cannot wait to test his newly upgraded gear. Scanning the water with his insight skill, he only finds low-level chests. None of them are worth a cast until he spots a 5-star chest 5 meters down. With fishing recommended, he shifts around and locks onto the perfect spot. Casting the bait, he waits. 10 minutes later, he yanks the rod, making the line whistle. Insight reveals a 5-star ordinary monster chest waiting at the end. There is an ordinary merman inside, meaning he has to slay it for the rewards. His passive fishing skill guarantees that great strength will yield immediate miracles. This merman has high strength and solid defense. Armed with a spear, its deadly skill can emit a piercing, mind-numbing shriek. The dangerous sound blast targets the enemy's spirit, scaled entirely on mental attributes. It has a solid combat, rating around ordinary tier 4 to 6. System notes show this creature has a fishtail, human torso, and deadly underwater skills. It dominates the sea, but on land it is weak, especially around its head. The combat advice warns of its combined spear and scream attacks. It suggests shooting from afar, but with his new rod, he can use brute force. This is his very first 5-star chest, housing something way tougher than goblins. He drags the chest ashore and pops it open. With a flash of white light, a half-fish, half-human creature materializes on his island. "Damn, that is one ugly creature," he mutters, comparing it to sea monkeys. Before the confused beast can react, he draws his pistol and fires several rounds. At point-blank range, his enhanced stats ensure he does not miss, though he misses the head. The moment the first bullet hits, the beast instinctively covers its face with both hands. Then it unleashes a deafening, supersonic scream that hits him almost instantly. But here is the thing, his spirit stats are double the monster's, completely saving his mind. His head barely throbs, ignoring the mental attack. Curse words fly as he unleashes a barrage of bullets, drilling bloody holes. However, the creature's high defense keeps its vital organs shielded from the onslaught. His simple pistol loses power quickly against those dense scales and thick muscles. Absolutely driven mad with pain, the monster locks its eyes onto him. It hurls its spear, but his insight easily predicts the path, letting him dodge. Getting hit by that throw would have easily run him clean through. Stranded on land, the weaponless beast snarls helplessly. Stuck on land with no weapon left, it is nothing more than a fish. He raises his saber and charges forward at high speed. The half-grown merman has no time to react as his blade slices deep into its neck. Since the first blow does not sever it completely, he leaps back to avoid the splash. The creature's rage turns into a completely bewildered, incredulous look. Its body slams onto the ground in a spreading pool of blood. The system pings him, confirming a successful slay and rewarding a chest. Thanks to his double reward multiplier, he actually receives 2 mermaid guards. These guards have 6 strength, 6 constitution, 4 spirit, and 100 loyalty. They are equipped with spears, speak the universal language, and have a shriek skill. Their combat tier is 4 to 6, requiring 10 ordinary pearls, and 5 liters of elite blood to upgrade, right after the kill. A bright white light flashes, the corpse vanishes, leaving only blood on the ground. 2 stout mermaid guards materialize in a half-prone posture before him. He commands them to enter the sea, and they joyfully crawl forward. Using their arms, they reach the edge and plunge in with splashes. He walks over and orders them to dive and circle the island. They acknowledge his command and dive down, though he has a water-pelling bead. He has never actually gone into the water himself, having these guards makes him quite curious. About 10 minutes later, they surface to report their findings. The rock layer beneath the island is only about 5 meters deep, meaning the entire island is floating. Furthermore, this local sea is relatively shallow, only about 100 meters deep. He asks if they saw any chests down there. Visibly bewildered, they ask what chests he means. They cannot see them. Perhaps the chests are half illusory or only appear outside of the water. He tells them to wait while he dives down to check for himself. Since the sea is only 100 meters deep, his fitness makes diving easy. And since he already cleared out the threats, he quickly strips to his shorts. He dives right in, and his 2 mermaid guards immediately flank him closely. The moment he enters, his eyes widen. The ocean floor is completely packed. There is a damaged wooden chest, a tent, and a half-star wooden chest, containing some soda, along with a half-star ordinary pet treasure chest. With a pet snow rabbit inside, he even spots a 2-star servant chest with 60 initial loyalty, but get this, these chests actually seem alive. They constantly shift around like schools of fish, never staying in one place. His target dodges easily. They move incredibly fast, testing his temper. But he refuses to let it go. After a minute chase, he finally snatches a 1-star chest, but then the system suddenly pings. It warns that the novice period is not over, making this catch illegal. He must release it immediately or face punishment, which instantly ruins his mood. Dropping the chest like a hot potato, he curses and flips it off. It is pointless to stay down here if he cannot actually take anything. He swims to the surface, grabs a jagged rock and climbs back up. The guards confirm they will watch the island while he heads back. Returning to his cabin, he swallows the second Tier 1 marrow cleansing pill. His stomach reacts instantly as the pill goes to work purifying his body. 20 minutes later, he crawls out of the makeshift toilet, legs shaking and face pale. He checks his status panel. Both his strength and constitution have finally increased, hitting 8 points while his spirit remains stuck below 5. After resting a bit, his color returns. He sighs and grabs his rod, since underwater chests are out. Fishing and netting are his only real options. He sits back down in his chair and opens the world chat. Fishing is boring and talking to goblins is impossible. And honestly, the global chat is looking gloomier than ever. One user laments that life is just getting harder with 0 food, water, or women. Someone suggests jumping into the sea to end it all, asking those desperate people to leave their supplies first because wasting resources is a shame. A third guy tells him to drop dead, while someone asks if other regions are any better. Another replies that the big shots everywhere are probably living in luxury while the rest are just background extras playing along. Another calls it a brutal survival game, like raising vipers. The energy crystals were hyped, but yesterday proved that for average survivors, the daily guaranteed bait allowance makes catching one highly unlikely.